Chapter 4799 now knew that it was cute? Lan Luomu stared at Yun Chujio viciously. Although his hand had already recovered due to Second Elder's use of the immortal Luomu bone-healing ointment, the grudge of losing his hand was irreconcilable. Today he would make this wretched girl pay the price. He did not have any gentlemanly style and did not want a good reputation, so he did not plan to give Yun Chujio any time to recover her strength. However, just as he was about to make a move, he heard Yun Chujio say, "Wait a minute. I'll let my spiritual beast out for a walk first, then we'll make a move." Before Lan Luomu could say anything, a huge purple Gowei Batsao appeared in front of everyone. Some of the people present had never seen Gowei Batsao before, so when they saw Gowei Batsao, they were all dumbfounded. Tsk, this was the first time they had seen a spiritual beast that was a plant. Even if it was a plant, it could transform into a poisonous vine or something like that. It was actually a Gowei Batsao. Could this thing have any offensive power? No wonder Yun Chujio's swordsmanship was not bad. She probably knew that her spiritual beast was too useless, so she focused on practicing her swordsmanship. Because of the Gowei Batsao in the middle, Lan Luomu could not directly fight with Yun Chujio. While he was considering whether to release his spiritual beast, he heard Yun Chujio say, "Old ancestor, this should be the first time you have seen such an interesting spiritual beast, right? You are a little curious, right? Let me tell you, my Gowei Batsao is not an ordinary Gowei Batsao." If Yun Chujio was talking to herself or to others, Lan Luomu would definitely attack her without caring about anything else. However, Yun Chujio was talking to Old Ancestor now, so he did not dare to act rashly. He could only bite his back teeth and listen to Yun Chujio chattering away. "Old Ancestor, although this Gowei Batsao of mine doesn't have much attack power, it knows how to act cute. Come, Gowei Batsao, show Old Ancestor your heart." Hei Shinjio said this, but her spiritual sense was teasing the strange grass in her dantian. "Guai Chao, little cutie, cooperate well with me. After the competition, I'll go to the medicine shop to buy you some herbs to eat. You can buy whatever you want to eat." Guai Chao shook its leaves arrogantly. Now it knew how to beg it? Now it knew that it was cute. What did it do when it scolded it previously? It has a backbone. How can I make it act cute? No way. Therefore Hei Shinjio was embarrassed. Not only did the giant Gowei Batsao not act cute, instead, it lay on the competition stage with a half-dead look. Ahem, old ancestor, it's bowing to you." "It's bowing to you," Hei Shinjio said with a dry smile. The corner of the old ancestor's mouth twitched. He could see that this Gowei Batsao not only had no offensive power, but the little girl was obviously not skilled enough to command it. With her level she would definitely lose. Seeing that the old ancestor did not say anything, Lan Luomu snorted coldly. Yun Chujio glared at Gowei Batsao, who was lying on the ground, and then laughed lightly. "Don't be so full of yourself. You're just a defeated opponent. Where did you get the courage to talk to me like that?" Lan Luomu's expression became even colder. He sneered and released a spiritual sea snake. "Yun Chujio, my auxiliary spiritual beast, can crush a Gowei Batsao like you. They'll deal with your spiritual beast first before dealing with you." Chapter 4800 Which big sister Wu Yin did this? Yun Chujio shrugged her shoulders indifferently. She originally wanted to deal with this damn Gowei Batsao. Although it was only a spiritual beast, she could still vent her anger by watching it get abused. Moreover, she could use this period of time to recover her physical strength. The spiritual sea snake spat out its tongue and pounced fiercely at the Gowei Batsao. Just when everyone thought that the Gowei Batsao would be instantly destroyed by the attack, the Gowei Batsao suddenly shrunk several times. It started jumping around on the competition stage. It even jumped on the head of the spiritual sea snake, and the flower tassel that looked like the Gowei Batsao wagged its tail proudly. Everyone, why did this Gowei Batsao look so similar to that Yun Chujio? They were all the same. Shameless. However, it seemed that this Gowei Batsao only knew how to dodge and did not have any means to fight back. It was really useless. Hei Xinjia's heart also felt like a dog's. She originally thought that this Gowei Batsao could at least use its leaves to whip a few times, but now that she looked at it, it was even more useless than her. Cough cough, it was a slip of the tongue. It was purely a slip of the tongue. She was much better than this Gowei Batsao. Lan Luomu looked at the Gowei Batsao that was fleeing in all directions with disdain. Then he summoned his intrinsic spiritual beast, a fierce spiritual blood crocodile. He and the spiritual blood crocodile attacked Yun Chujio at the same time. When Yun Chujio and Lan Luocheng were fighting, Lan Luomu had already thought of a way to break Yun Chujio's stacked sword intent. That was to focus on one point, which would quickly break the stacked sword intent. Even if Yun Chujio could release the sword intent immediately, her physical strength and spiritual power would not be able to hold on for a long time. The facts proved that he was right. Yun Chujio quickly fell into a disadvantageous position. This fellow was forced to retreat repeatedly. In her heart, she thought that if she wanted to win, she only had two ways now. She could either summon a large kitchen knife or use the small flame in her right palm. However, no matter which method she used, that old fox of the Lan family's ancestor would probably discover the clues. It was really too complicated. As for the trick of pretending to fall, he could only use it once. If he used it again, it would be self-defeating. What should he do? It was a pity that her Jinx mouth skill was not effective at times. Otherwise, if she summoned a heavenly lightning to strike Lan Luomu to death, how good would that be? Sigh. Boom. A thick purple heavenly lightning descended from the sky and coincidentally struck Lan Luomu's body. Lan Luomu was stunned. If he had been prepared, this lightning bolt could only slightly injure him. However, due to the sudden turn of events, the lightning bolt knocked him out. Oh my god, which big sister Wu Yun did this? It was so fucking awesome. This fellow did not have time to think. He kicked Lan Luomu, who had fainted, under the stage. Lan Luomu's spiritual beast dissipated very quickly because his spiritual attack was cut off. Yun Chujio said smugly, "Did you see that? Even the heavens are helping me." To be honest, I really didn't want to get first place, but I didn't expect that I would get first place just by casually sparring. A low-profile person like me really doesn't want to attract so much attention. How did I get first place just like that? I'm also very helpless. Lan Luomu, who had just woken up, was so angry that he fainted again when he heard this guy's shameless words. At first, Lan Dimeo's face was full of confusion, but then he laughed so hard that he couldn't close his mouth. He didn't expect this big pie to fall on the heads of the three of them. Although this little trash wasn't very capable, he was lucky. It seems that bringing her back is the right decision. Chapter 48:01. Guai Chao, who was about to die of anger. Lan Dimeo was happy. The first elder and second elder were so angry that they almost vomited blood. They never dreamed that a little trash of the ninth layer of the quietness of the soul would win the first place in the competition. The second elder was even angrier than the first elder. No matter what, Lan Luoqing lost because he made a mistake. However, Luomu was knocked out by the heavenly lightning. That was why that stupid girl took advantage of him. He was so angry. The Lan family's patriarch had a complicated look on his face. Firstly, he had never expected such an outcome. Secondly, since Yun Chujio had won first place, he could only fulfill his promise to take her to the Zen sect. It was a bit of a headache to think about it. Of course, he could go back on his words, and Yun Chujio would not dare to do anything to him. However, if this was the case, this matter would become a demon in his heart. After all, it was not right for him to deceive a junior with his identity. Compared to these people, some grass were more suffocating. The strange grass in Yun Chujio's dantian was so angry that it was twitching. It was just about to show its true ability to make the black-hearted little girl look at it in a new light. Just as it was about to amaze the world and correct the name of the grass, it was intercepted by the heavenly lightning. It was so angry that it died. It recalled that Yun Chujio had asked it to act cute from the bottom of its heart, and it had courageously rejected it. The entire grass was in bad shape. It was all that damned lightning. It had not struck earlier or later, but it had struck at that time. It must have been deliberately going against it. Damn that bastard lightning. If it had known this would happen, it would not have played with the sea snake with spirit power. It would have directly used its true abilities. It was truly regretful. Yun Chujio did not know what Guai Chao was thinking. After Elder Ning announced the results of the competition, the fellow happily jumped off the stage and went to the ancestor. "Old ancestor, I won first place. You must keep your word." The old ancestor nodded with a stiff expression. "Of course he'll keep my word. Well, set off in 3 days." Yun Chujio was so smart. Although the old ancestor's performance was not very obvious, she could tell that the old ancestor was somewhat unwilling. Could it be that the old man had only proposed that condition to force her to use her true abilities? This fellow thought of the bad lot that she had drawn one after another and instantly understood that she had been schemed against by this old fox. This fellow couldn't help but be on guard. This old fox was much more cunning than the people she had met before. She had to be more careful in the future. Although this fellow's heart was in turmoil, he revealed an obedient smile on his face. "Thank you, old ancestor." Hearing the ancestor say to Yun Chujio that they would set off in 3 days, everyone's heart beat faster. Where did the ancestor want to take Yun Chujio? Second elder asked with a gloomy face. Yun Chujio, where does the ancestor want to take you? Second uncle, grandpa, I don't dare to reveal this. You better ask the ancestor. Hei Shinjio said with a smile. Second elder was furious. If he had the guts to ask the ancestor, why would he ask her? The others looked at Yun Chujio with hostility and jealousy. What right did the ancestor have to treat her differently? Even if she got the first place, she got it by chance. The first round was bought by her with 50 spirit stones. The second round was given to her by Lan Luoqing. The third round was even more ridiculous. It was a heavenly lightning strike. Chapter 4802 Iron Rooster. Yun Chujio didn't care whether they were angry or not. She walked up to Lan Dimeo and said with a smile, Great uncle, did I perform well? Not bad, not bad. You are quite capable, ha. Lan Dimeo couldn't close his mouth. The first place in the family competition was not only good in reputation, but also beneficial. How could he not be happy? Hei Shinjio said pitifully, Uncle, I've done a meritorious deed. Can you lend me some money? How much do you want to borrow? Forget about borrowing, I can even reward you. Lan Dimeo was in a good mood and said with a smile. It's not much. It's only 2 million. Last time I blew up the door of the wind blade room. Housekeeper Su has been asking me for money. Lan Dimeo's face instantly stiffened. He originally thought that Yun Chujio would at most say 100,000 to 80,000. Who would have thought that this guy would ask for 2 million? However, since he had already said it, he couldn't go back on his words. Thinking about how his ancestor treated this little girl in a different light, and even wanted to bring her out, it wasn't wrong to win her over properly. Thus, he endured the pain and transferred 2 million high-grade spirit stones to Yun Chujio. There's no need to return it. Consider it as a reward for you. Thank you, great uncle. I knew great uncle would be the most generous. Little Gio will definitely be filial to you in the future. Hei Xinjia's mouth seemed to be dipped in honey as she said with a smile. Lan Dimeo thought about how this fellow in front of him had been making him feel proud recently, and the heartache disappeared into thin air. After saying a few words, he left. When almost everyone had left, housekeeper Su came up and said, Miss Cousin, now that you have money, shouldn't you? Before he could finish his words, he heard Yun Chujio say, Housekeeper Su, why are you so big-hearted? It was not easy for me to scam you. Is it easy for me to get some money? I'm planning to keep it for when I go out with the old ancestor. As for the money for the wind blade room, we'll talk about it in the future. Housekeeper Su. He finally understood that it was impossible for him to get the money. This fellow was an iron rooster. He simply didn't want to spend a single cent. If other people dared to go back on their word, he would have long sent them to the punishment room. However, he didn't dare to do so for this little ancestor in front of him. This person was someone who dared to knock on the city gate. He would only provoke her if he was tired of living. Therefore, housekeeper Su watched Hei Shinjio swagger away. I didn't expect that you really got lucky. You actually won the first place. Yun Chujio knew that she was at Sundara, so she did not mind. She said proudly, of course. I'm the favorite of Tiandao. My luck has always been very good. If you follow me, I guarantee that you will benefit a lot. Lan Luofeng pouted. Don't be so smug. Although you got first place, don't you know how you got it? Let me tell you, you are now the public enemy of the Lan family. Everyone wants you to be unlucky. Yun Chujio sighed. Sigh, who asked me to be so outstanding? Being invincible is so lonely. Lan Luofeng was so angry that she rolled her eyes and said unhappily, All right, stop showing off. You better be careful in the future or you won't even know how you died. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Those who provoke me are the ones who are courting death. Let's go back to the residence, the sky is almost dark, I'm starving to death. Lan Luofeng knew that this guy was full of bad ideas, so she didn't bother to say anything more. The two of them returned to the third room. Chapter 4803 Guai Chao. Yun Chujio returned to the courtyard to wash up before preparing to eat dinner. She picked up her chopsticks and was about to eat when a strange smile suddenly appeared on her lips. Hong Ling, who was serving at the side, shivered in fear. What was wrong with this little ancestor? Who received today's food? Yun Chujio put down her chopsticks and asked. Hong Ling was stunned. It's from Lulu. Miss, is there something wrong with the food? Call Lulu in, Yun Chujio said lightly. Hong Ling quickly went out and called Lulu in. Lulu didn't know what had happened, but when she saw that Hong Ling didn't look well, she became a little nervous. Miss, what do you want from me? Yun Chujio slammed the table and shouted, Did you receive this meal? Who gave you the courage to poison my meal? Lu Luo was so scared that she immediately knelt on the ground. "Miss, I'm innocent. I wouldn't dare to poison you no matter how brave I am." Yun Chujio did not think that Lu Luo had poisoned her, but she wanted to test her reaction. Seeing that she did not look like she was lying, she said, "Tell me what happened when you received the meal." Lu Luo did not dare to hide anything and told her all the details. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. Lu Luo had come out from the kitchen to her courtyard without a second person handling it. This meant that the person who poisoned her had already done it in the kitchen. This was a bit difficult. There were many people in the kitchen and there were people coming and going. It was really hard to say who had poisoned her. Yun Chujio looked at Hong Ling and Lu Luo. "Build a small kitchen in the courtyard. Don't go to the big kitchen to get food in the future." Although she was not afraid of poison, these 3 maids were. She did not have the time to train 3 more maids. Hong Ling and Lu Luo's faces were pale as they agreed. Fortunately, the young lady was quick-witted. Otherwise they would not have survived. Hong Ling and Lu Luo wanted to remove the dishes on the table, but Yun Chujio waved her hand. "I like these dishes with seasonings. You don't have to care about me. You can leave now." Hong Ling and Lu Luo were a little confused, but they knew that this little ancestor would not trick them, so they respectfully left. Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips and began to eat and drink. The poison in these dishes was nothing to Guai Chao. Even so, after dinner, He Xinjiu scolded Guai Chao. "Go Weiba, have you grown up? How dare you go against me? Besides, you are a piece of trash. Even if you use grass leaves to whip it, you are not a piece of trash." Guai Chao shook its leaf aggrievedly. It was not a piece of trash, but it had been struck by that damn heavenly lightning. Unfortunately, it could not speak and could only be scolded pitifully. Yun Chujio cursed for a while and comforted herself. Although Go Weiba was not in tune, it could at least help her to be immune to all poisons. It was better than that damn black bead. Alright, there was also that scammer, the Great Void Mirror. It would go into hibernation from time to time, as if it did not exist. Who knew how long it would take to find the last fragment? 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Early in the morning, He Xinjiu hopped to the ancestral residence and prepared to follow the Lan family's ancestor to the Zen sect. The first elder and the other 2 had already received the news the day before, so they all came to see her off. The second elder looked at He Xinjiu, who was standing behind the ancestor, and was instantly furious. He secretly hated the old bald donkeys of the Zen sect. This stupid girl was also a troublemaker. Perhaps she would cause trouble when she arrived at the Zen sect. At that time she would be in big trouble. Chapter 4804, Old Hunchback. The old ancestor gave a few simple instructions to the 3 elders before leaving the ancestral residence with He Xinjiu, who was all smiles. The old ancestor did not bring any guards. He only brought a servant, a hunchbacked old man. He Xinjiu thought to herself, "It seems that this old fox is confident enough to protect himself. Otherwise he would not even bring any guards." However, she reckoned that this hunchback must be very powerful. Otherwise, with so many people in the ancestral mansion, the old ancestor wouldn't have insisted on bringing him along. After the 3 of them left the imperial city, the old ancestor summoned his flying spirit tool and the 3 of them set off for the Zen sect. Compared to Lan Dimeo's luxurious flying spirit tool, the layout of the old ancestor's flying spirit tool was much simpler. However, Yun Chujio naturally wouldn't be foolish enough to think that this flying spirit tool couldn't be compared to Lan Dimeo's. "Old ancestor, this flying spirit tool of yours is also from the Qing family of the Valley of Fog?" The old ancestor nodded. "That's right. The top flying spirit tools of the Chongshao continent are all from the Qing family of the Valley of Fog." Yun Chujio pondered in her heart when she heard this. If there was a chance, she would also get a few. This seemed to be much more awesome than her flying spirit tools. This fellow glanced at the hunchback again and asked, "Old ancestor, who is this?" "You can call him Old Hunchback," Grand Ancestor said indifferently. "Old Hunchback?" It seemed that this hunchback status was not ordinary. He Xinjiu thought and said with a smile, "Old Hunchback, you know that I'm useless. Please take care of me when I'm in danger." Old Hunchback's expression did not change. He did not even make a sound of acknowledgement. It was obvious that he did not take He Xinjiu seriously. He Xinjiu's expression did not change. She cursed in her heart. What's the point of being cocky? If he was really in danger, he might have to rely on her. He Xinjiu did not dare to deal with Elder Tua like she did with Housekeeper Su. This Elder Tua's status was obviously not ordinary. Although he was very respectful to her ancestor, he did not look like a servant. He Xinjiu had hit a soft spot with Elder Tua. She could only continue to get close to her ancestor. Ancestor, tell me about the Zen sect. Isn't the Zen sect a Buddhist temple? The corners of the ancestor's mouth twitched. He knew that the guy was trying to find something to talk about. Her parents were detained in the Zen sect, and she had been running to the library. How could she not know something about the Zen sect? However, he still said, although the Zen sect is a Buddhist temple, it is not a temple. It is a sect that cultivates the power of Buddha. The rules of the Zen sect are strict. You must be careful when you go there. Otherwise, even I won't be able to protect you. Do you understand? Yun Chujio nodded obediently. Don't worry, Patriarch. I will be obedient. Yun Chujio was very tactful. Seeing that her patriarch was no longer interested in talking, she returned to her cabin. This guy's heart was not calm. Her parents were detained in the Zen sect. She did not know if she could get any useful information from this trip. She really did not understand how his parents had offended the Zen sect. She remembered that Di Biming had once said that there was something wrong with the Yun family's ancestral tomb. She wondered if the Yun family's ancestral tomb had anything to do with the Zen sect. Thinking of this, she thought of Di Biming, who had not been heard from. She was so worried that she felt a little depressed. Fortunately, this guy had a big heart. After eating some food, he was lively again. She had to look on the bright side of everything. No matter what, she had made some progress by being able to go to the Zen sect once. As for the pretty boy, there should be no big problems. If something happened to the pretty boy, the Divine Devil Hall would not be so quiet. They would have been playing drums and gongs. Chapter 4805, Ancient Buddhist Scripture. Yun Chujio originally wanted to probe her ancestor about the Divine Devil Hall, but she was afraid that it would backfire, so she could only endure it. Her top priority now was to increase her strength. The rest of the things could be done slowly. Thinking of this guy began to sit cross-legged and cultivate to stabilize his realm. The journey was very smooth. 5 days later, the flying spirit tool arrived at the Zen sect. Yun Chujio looked at the misty mountain peak in front of her and was a little confused. Was this the Zen sect? Wasn't this just an ordinary mountain peak? At this moment, the scenery in front of them changed. In front of them was an ancient mountain gate with 2 big words written on the board, Zen sect. However, there was a vague word bitter in front of the Zen sect. It must have been erased later. Yun Chujio couldn't help but laugh. Why was the signboard of the Chongshao continent in such a tone? Why were all the words erased? An old monk came out from the mountain gate and said with a smile, Master Lan came from afar. This penniless monk did not welcome you. I hope you will forgive me. Master Lei, you are too polite. Please forgive me for intruding on you, the old ancestor said politely. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. 2 hypocritical old foxes, bah. The two exchanged a few more pleasantries before Master Lei nodded at old Tua. Almsgiver Tua, how have you been? Old Tua also nodded and said coldly, I have been all right. Master Lei smiled and then his gaze fell on Yun Chujio. He didn't say anything and called Master Lan to come in. Yun Chujio had read some information about the Zen sect. This Master Lei had a high position in the Zen sect, second only to the sect master, Master Wu. Moreover, the people of the Zen sect were more rigid and cold. Only Master Lei knew how to be flexible. Therefore, Master Lei was in charge of dealing with other forces. After entering the Zen sect, Yun Chujio found that there was not much difference between the Zen sect and ordinary sects, except that they were all monks. The disciples of the Zen sect all had serious expressions on their faces. When they saw Yun Chujio and the others, they did not have any special expressions other than putting their palms together and standing at the side. Yun Chujio thought to herself, no wonder people said that the people of the Zen sect were a group of old-fashioned people. It was really true. Each and every one of them was like a wooden sculpture made of clay. It was obvious that they were all dead set. The Zen sect was quite large. Although the reception hall they were heading to was on the main peak, they still walked for a while before they arrived at the reception hall. Hei Shinjio followed behind the ancestor of the Lan family. Her eyes darted around as she thought to herself, none of these old monks are good. Otherwise, why would they imprison my parents? After exchanging pleasantries, the ancestor of the Lan family took out a sheepskin scroll from his storage ring and said with a smile, Master Lu Wu, this is the ancient Buddhist scripture that I mentioned earlier. It would be a waste to leave it with me. It's more appropriate to leave it with your sect for safekeeping. Yun Chujio glanced at the sheepskin scroll and her heart skipped a beat. She had bought a Buddhist scripture from a disciple of the Nameless Sword sect in order to deal with the drifter. It seemed very similar to this one. Master Louis' expression finally changed when he saw the sheepskin scroll. He became even more excited when he received the Buddhist scripture and opened it. He pressed his palms together and said, "Master Lan, this Buddhist scripture is extremely important to our Zen sect. Thank you very much." Master Lan said a few polite words and then said, "Master Lu, I plan to cultivate in the tranquil spring of your sect for a few days. I wonder if it would be convenient for me?" Chapter 4806 Spring of Tranquility. Yun Chujio finally understood why the ancestor of the Lan family came all the way to the Zen sect as a guest. It turned out that he had such an idea. The Zen sect had 3 treasures. One of them was the Spring of Tranquility. The Spring of Tranquility was the eye of a spring. It was said that this spring was created by the relic of the Buddha. Therefore, it had the effect of dispelling inner demons and calming one's mind. There was no need to drink this spring or bathe in it. One only needed to meditate and cultivate near it to have a miraculous effect. Generally speaking, the Spring of Tranquility was not open to the public. Even Zen sect disciples were not qualified to approach the Spring of Tranquility. It seemed that the old fox had communicated with this Master Hao Wu before. The ancient Buddhist scripture from before was the condition of the exchange. Sure enough, Master Wu nodded. Of course. Later you'll get a junior brother to bring you there. However, the discipline in the sect is very strict, so please be careful with your words and actions. The old ancestor of the Lan family smiled. Of course. We will definitely abide by the rules of your sect. Master Wu's gaze fell on Yun Chujio. He frowned slightly and said, "This young benefactor has quite a strong murderous aura. Indeed, he should cultivate in the quiet spring to remove the karmic barrier." Although Yun Chujio did not quite understand the meaning of karmic barrier, she vaguely knew that it was the meaning of sin. She was furious. How could such a kind and good girl like her have any karmic barrier? That damned old monk was obviously blind. However, this fellow did not dare to blow his top. He revealed a silly smile and did not say a word. Master Lei shook his head. He already knew that Yun Chujio was the daughter of Yun Fengjin and Yi Lan. However, the Buddha was merciful and did not punish his children. The Zen sect would not do anything to this little girl. However, if she committed evil, then she could only be punished according to the law. Master Lei's thoughts had already flown to the ancient Buddhist scriptures. After saying a few perfunctory words, he found an excuse to let a master bring the 3 ancestors of the Lan family to the Spring of Tranquility. The Spring of Tranquility was at the back of the mountain of the main peak. An hour later, everyone arrived at the Spring of Tranquility. The Spring of Tranquility was surrounded by an ancient tree. Although it was a spring, what everyone saw was a rather large pool. There were bubbles rolling in the middle of the pool. It should be the Spring of Tranquility. The bubbling bubbles produced sounds similar to the beating of a wooden fish. It was said that this was the main reason why people could calm their minds and focus their minds. The Lan family's ancestor and elder Tua's expressions were very pious. When they sensed this, their impetuous mood immediately calmed down. As for Hei Xinjiu, when she saw the pool of spring water, she thought to herself, "I wonder if there are fish in the spring water. If there are fish, the taste will definitely be very delicious." Master Lei left after Master Lei said a few polite words. Ji Kong and Ji Su were 2 handsome young monks. However, they looked very serious. Seeing that Master Lei did not give them any instructions, they directly meditated in the distance. Yun Chujio pursed her lips. The way the Zen sect treated their guests was really complicated. "Ancestor, I'll help you decorate the room. Don't worry. I've brought a few sets of blankets, pillows, dining tables, and rice bowls. I guarantee that you'll be comfortable," Hei Xinjiu said with a smile. The ancestor of the Lan family, they were here for a retreat, not an outing, okay? Chapter 4807. Jesus' little brother Yun Chujio sneaked into a small wooden house without waiting for the ancestor of the Lan family to say anything. The furnishings in the wooden house were very simple. There was only a wooden bed, a table and a chair. Hei Xinjiu was like a hard-working bee. She rearranged the 3 small wooden houses and arrived at the side of the spring. Seeing that the ancestor of the Lan family and elder Tua were meditating, she listened to the sound of bubbles coming out of the spring curiously. He did not feel anything such as calming his mind or expelling the demons in his heart. She felt that it was just an ordinary bubbling sound. It was not as magical as it sounded. It was just the psychological effect of a human being. Blinking his eyes, he jumped in front of Ji Kong and Ji Su. Ji Kong stood up and put his palms together. "Almsgiver Yun, what can I do for you? It's already noon. Shouldn't you be preparing vegetarian rice for us? I heard that your Zen sect has many delicious dishes such as assorted tofu, jade bean rolls, stir-fried cabbage, lotus flower crisps, Ji Kong, Ji Su, was this person here to cultivate or to eat? If he was not here to eat, how could he know so much about the vegetarian dishes here? Ji Kong said coldly, Almsgiver Yun, since the three of you are here to cultivate, you should abstain from eating. This is beneficial to your cultivation. Abstain from eating? Hei Xinjiu rolled her eyes immediately. In this world, food was the only thing that could not be let down. If she was not allowed to eat, she might as well be killed. Well, the old ancestor and elder Tu are here to cultivate. I'm here to be their servant girl, so I have to eat. If you don't fetch me my food, I'll have to fetch it myself. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other. There were no female disciples in the Zen sect. If the little girl were to go to the vegetarian hall, it would definitely cause trouble. Therefore, Ji Kong said in a flat tone, in that case, he'll go fetch the vegetarian meal for Almsgiver Yun. Almsgiver Yun, please wait a moment. Yun Chujio nodded happily and added, well, I have a big appetite, so he'll get more. Ji Kong's face stiffened, but he did not say anything and went to get the vegetarian meal for this fellow. Ji's face stiffened. Benefactor Yun, please address this penniless monk by my Dharma name. Also, this penniless monk still has to meditate. Benefactor Yun, please go back. TSK, your cultivation is obviously not good enough. This form of address is just a worldly thing. Even if I call you Miss Ji Su, your expression should not change, Yun Chujio said with a pout. Ji's face stiffened even more. Almsgiver Yun, please leave. Master Lei said that he would look for you and little brother Ji Kong if there's anything. How can you drive me away? Is this how the Zen sect treats their guests? Yun Chujio puffed up her cheeks and said angrily. Ji Su obviously didn't know how to respond. He could only hold the Buddha bead in his hand and say nothing. Yun Chujio took out a spirit fruit and chewed it a few times. Then she asked, little brother Ji Su, have you been cultivating in the Zen sect since you were young? Where are your parents? Once you become a Buddhist, the past is all in the past. This penniless monk can no longer remember it. Oh, so your brain isn't that good. You didn't remember it. But that's true. You were still young at that time, so it's inevitable that your memory isn't good, Yun Chujio said faintly. Ji's expression turned a little ugly. You're the one who's not good. Is this little girl sick? Chapter 4808 She was here to eat for free. Yun Chujio glanced at Ji Su and was secretly happy. Little boy, even a pretty boy without 7 emotions and 6 desires was no match for me. A little monk like you was a piece of cake. Little brother Ji Su, I heard that your Zen sect cultivates Buddhist power. Which is more powerful, Buddhist power or spiritual power? Ji Su suppressed the impatience in his heart and said, Buddha says that you don't fight, so it doesn't matter which is more powerful. Almsgiver Yun, senior brother Ji Kong will bring back the vegetarian meal very soon, so please go back and wait for him. Ji Su almost told Hei Xinjiu to get lost. Unfortunately, Hei Xinjiu was not aware of it at all. She nodded and said, oh, the Buddha Dharma is indeed profound. I've learned a lot from you. Ji Su, I haven't seen the people of the Zen sect fight yet. Let's exchange a few moves and see what I can do. Ji Su could not take it anymore. He decided to just meditate and ignore Ji Su. He thought that Yun Chujio would back down after this. He did not expect that Hei Xinjiu would be boisterous beside him. Little brother Ji Su, can you introduce the Zen sect to me? Why don't you accompany me for a tour? Little brother Ji Su, who is more powerful between you and little brother Ji Kong? I guess he is more powerful, right? After all, your brain is not that good. Just when Ji Su was about to go crazy, Ji Kong came back. Seeing that there was food, Hei Xinjiu immediately beamed with joy and left. Seeing Ji's livid face, Ji Kong asked in confusion, Junior brother, what happened to you? Ji Su remembered that Yun Chujio said Ji Kong was more powerful than him. He snorted coldly and said, nothing? Ji Kong was confused. People of the Zen sect rarely had emotional ups and downs. Why did his junior brother Ji Su look so impetuous? On the other side, Hei Xinjiu asked with a smile, Ancestor, Elder Tua, the vegetarian meal is here. The ancestor of the Lan family and Elder Tua didn't say anything. It was obvious that they had no intention of eating. Hei Xinjiu wished that the two of them wouldn't eat. She immediately started eating and drinking, and she even fed the rest of the vegetarian meal to the dumb cuties. Wasn't she afraid that the old monks would know that she was the ghost ancestor and kill her? Qing thought about it again. Very few people knew that Yun Chujio was the ghost ancestor, so it wouldn't be a big deal. However, what had happened that would make the Zen sect hate the ghost ancestor to the bone? After lunch, Hei Xinjiu walked around the pond a few times and found that there weren't even any aquatic plants, let alone fish. Blinking her eyes, she jumped in front of Ji Kong and Ji Su again. Ji Su frowned subconsciously and retreated a distance. Ji Kong was baffled, but he still stood up and asked, "Patron Yun, what can I do for you?" "Ji Kong, I heard that your Zen sect is rich in karma. Can you pick a basket for me?" He Xinjiu asked with a smile. Ji Kong was startled by the title Ji Kong, and his eyes twitched when he saw the bamboo basket that was as tall as a man on the ground. He finally understood. This little girl was not here to cultivate. She was here to eat for free. Just as he was about to refuse, Ji Su said, "I'll go pick it." Before Ji Kong could react, Ji Su had already carried the bamboo basket and ran away. Ji Kong. Chapter 4809 From Benefactor Yun. Ji Kong was still in a daze when he heard Yun Chujio say with a smile, "Ji Kong, you might not know this, but Ji Su has told me a lot about you." Ji Kong was stunned. "About me? What is it?" Yun Chujio covered her mouth. Ji Su specifically told me not to tell you. How did I let it slip?" "Ji Kong, just pretend that you didn't hear anything." After He Xinjiu said that, she hopped away in a panic. Ji Kong's heart was beating fast. What did Ji Su say about him? Therefore, when Ji Su came back after picking the fruit, Ji Kong asked, "Ji Su, what did you say to Benefactor Yun about me?" Ji Su frowned. "I didn't say anything. Don't listen to her nonsense." Ji Kong became even more suspicious when he heard that. If he didn't say anything, why was he so impatient? And why did he retreat previously? Why did he rush to pick the fruit? It was obvious that he was guilty. Ji Su was already in a bad mood. Now that he saw Ji Kong's unfriendly expression, he became even more dissatisfied with Ji Kong. In the next 2 days, Yun Chujio came over to sow discord and successfully caused Ji Kong and Ji Su to fight. The patriarch of the Lan family, who was cultivating in seclusion, Elder Tua, didn't they say that the disciples of the Zen sect didn't fight for anything? Didn't they say that the disciples of the Zen sect were calm and unruffled? Didn't they say that the disciples of the Zen sect didn't fight for anything in the world? Why were the two disciples still fighting near the spring of tranquility? It was not bad that the two of them didn't know about it. It was mainly because the two of them had abandoned their distracting thoughts when they were cultivating in seclusion. Naturally, they didn't pay attention to the conversation between He Xinjiu and Ji Kong, so they didn't know that it was all He Xinjiu's doing. Seeing that Ji Kong and Ji Su were locked in a fight, the Lan family's ancestor did not know what to say. He could only send a voice transmission talisman to a Master Lei. "Master Lei, please come over for a moment." Master Lei did not know what had happened. When he saw Ji Kong and Ji Su fighting, he was so angry that he shouted, Amitba, stop, stop." Only then did Ji Kong and Ji Su stop fighting. They stood there with bruises on their faces and did not make a sound. Master Lei felt that he had nowhere to put his face. They actually fought in front of the guests. It was simply embarrassing. Master Lei first expressed his apology to the Lan family's ancestor, then brought Ji Kong and Ji Su back to his meditation room. Master Lei was furious. Although his cultivation was high, this incident was too embarrassing. "Evil creatures. Have you forgotten the Buddha's admonition to you? Why did you quarrel?" Ji Kong said aggrievedly, "Master, Ji Su said bad things about me behind my back, and even accused me of stealing the offerings when I was cleaning the Buddha statue." "You're talking nonsense. When did I say something like that? Instead, you said that my memory has always been bad and my brain isn't functioning properly," Ji Su said angrily. "You're the one who's talking nonsense. I never said that. Besides, your brain isn't functioning properly to begin with. Then you're stealing the offerings. And you're slacking off." Seeing Ji Kong and Ji Su quarreling again, Master Lei was so angry that his beard stood up. He wished he could kick these two guys out. "All of you shut up and tell me one by one. What is going on? Moreover, since you said it behind my back, how did you know?" Master Lei asked sternly. "Ji Su, Benefactor Yun said it." "Ji Kong, Benefactor Yun said it." Chapter 4810 The Demoness Master Lei. Master Lei twirled a circle of Buddhist beads in his hand and said, "Ji Su, you go first. Tell me everything in detail." Ji Su also realized that something was not right, so he told the truth about what Yun Chujio had done. However, when he said little brother Ji Su, he was more or less uncomfortable. After Ji Su finished, Master Lei asked Ji Kong to tell him what he knew. After Master Lei heard it, how could he not understand that all of this was caused by Yun Chujio, that little girl? On one hand, he was angry that Yun Chujio had fooled his two disciples. On the other hand, he felt that his two disciples were as stupid as pigs. Amitabha, a monk should not offend his mouth. Amitabha, Amitabha. Master Lei chanted the name of Buddha several times before he looked at Ji Kong and Ji Su. Stop being greedy, angry, foolish, slow and suspicious. Your cultivation is not enough. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked ashamed, but at the same time they were very angry at the instigator. Ji Su was angry and aggrieved. He said, Master, although senior brother Ji Kong and I did not cultivate enough, we would not have broken the precepts if Yun Chujio did not sow discord between us. Ji Kong also echoed, Yes, Master. That Yun Chujio looks innocent and lively, but I didn't expect her to have such a vicious heart. She must have no good intentions when she came to our Zen sect. Master, give the order. We will send her to the discipline hall now. Master Lei looked at his two disciples speechlessly. Send her to the discipline hall? Which rule did she break in our Zen sect? Think carefully, what did she tell you at that time? Ji Kong and Ji Su were instantly terrified. They carefully recalled what Yun Chujio said, but it was all plausible. She was only guiding them. Everything was their own speculation and misunderstanding. They really could not find any evidence against her. Master Lei shook his head. The Zen sect disciples were dedicated to cultivating Buddhist power. Although their cultivation was profound because they were isolated from the mortal world, their minds were mostly very simple. How could they be a match for that little girl? But why did she do that? Wasn't she afraid of angering the Zen sect? Master Lei also knew Yun Chujio's identity, so he was a little suspicious. This little girl was not here for Yun Fongjin and his wife, was she? Master Lei shook his head again. Since that little girl was so smart, she would not do such a thing. Then why did she want to sow discord between Ji Kong and Ji Su? Master Lei could not figure out Yun Chujio's thoughts at the moment. He said to Ji Kong and Ji Su, This matter will be treated as your training. Continue to work at the Spring of Tranquility. Ji Kong and Ji Su had no choice but to return to the Spring of Tranquility. Brothers, are you okay? Why did you fight all of a sudden? You scared me to death. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at Hei Xinjiu, who looked like a frightened little rabbit, and were furious. At this moment, in their eyes, Yun Chujio was a female devil. However, thinking of the instructions of a Master Lei and the fact that Yun Chujio was a guest, they could not do anything, so they agreed perfunctorily and began to meditate on the spot. They figured out that Yun Chujio could say whatever she wanted to say, and they could not say anything, so she could not stir up trouble. Chapter 48:11 Him staying here. Seeing that the two of them were ignoring her, Yun Chujio was not annoyed and started to brag about her great achievements. Ji Kong and Ji Su were annoyed, but they were on duty now and could not seal their five senses, so they could only listen to the devil's voice. The two of them thought that perhaps if they were further away from the Spring of Tranquility, the female devil would not bother them anymore. Therefore the two of them retreated a great distance, but Yun Chujio still chased after them like a dog's skin plaster. The two of them could not bear it anymore, and they begged a Master Lei to give them another job. It was simply too torturous. Master Lei refused flatly. If you don't even have this bit of willpower, how can you break through your cultivation? Ji Kong and Ji Su had no choice but to return to the Spring of Tranquility with their heads drooping, but they saw that the female devil was eating a drumstick. The two of them were overjoyed. Haha, they finally had something on her. She dared to eat meat in the Zen sect. This was a big taboo. The most important rule in the Zen sect was that even guests were no exception. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other and decided to take Yun Chujio directly to the discipline hall. It was quite a distance from the Spring of Tranquility. The head of the Lan family and that old hunchback were cultivating in seclusion, so they could not notice it at all. Even if the incident was exposed, they would have an excuse to say that they had taken Yun Chujio away to avoid disturbing their cultivation. Besides, the Zen sect wasn't afraid of the Lan family at all. This time it was Yun Chujio who was courting death. Even the patriarch of the Lan family had nothing to say. Therefore, the two of them didn't say anything and directly restrained Yun Chujio's spiritual power, escorting her to the discipline hall. Yun Chujio did not resist. She let the two of them escort her to the discipline hall, still holding the drumstick in her hand. Ji Kong and Ji Su only felt that all the pent-up frustration that they had accumulated over the past few days had been swept away. They were the personal disciples of a Master Lei. Usually they had a smooth sailing in the Zen sect. However, they had been played by this female devil, so naturally they had been very aggrieved. Now this female devil had violated the precepts. Although the punishment was not too severe, it could at least let them vent their anger. The two of them escorted Yun Chujio to the gate of the discipline hall, and then they released Yun Chujio's spiritual power. Ji Su said with a hint of schadenfreude, Almsgiver Yun, according to the sect rules, you will be punished with a cane for such behavior. You'd better take care of yourself. Yun Chujio glanced at him and then shouted, I'm wronged. I'm wronged. The Zen sect actually framed a guest. I've learned a lot. Ji Su and Ji Kong were shocked. Had this female devil gone mad? She was still holding the drumstick in her hand. How could she be wronged? At this time, Elder Lei Yin of the Discipline Hall happened to arrive. He frowned when he saw the situation. What happened? Ji Su quickly said, Martial uncle, this almsgiver Yun is openly eating meat in our Zen sect, so senior brother Ji Kong and I brought her here. Nonsense. When did I eat meat? It's obviously made of flour. I asked my maid to make it for me so that I wouldn't break the rules of the Zen sect. I didn't expect that you would bring me to the discipline hall without any reason. Is this the way of your Zen sect to treat guests? Hei Shinjio said angrily. Made of flour? Ji Kong and Ji Su were dumbfounded. Ji Su snatched the drumstick from Yun Chujia's hand and took a look, wasn't it? It was really made of flour. They were too excited just now, so they didn't take a closer look. The two of them could only smile apologetically and say, Benefactor Yun, this is all a misunderstanding. I'm sorry. Let's go back now. Go back? You guys wronged me for no reason. Are we just going to let it go? I'm not going back. If you don't give me an explanation today, he'll just stay here and not leave. As Yun Chujio said this, she directly took out the small pony and sat down at the door of the discipline hall. She looked at Ji Kong and Ji Su angrily. Chapter 48:12 Drama Queen Ji Kong and Ji Su saw that Yun Chujio refused to leave, and their claws were instantly numb. Although they had imprisoned Yun Chujia's spiritual power previously, they had directly brought her to the discipline hall under the premise that they thought that Yun Chujio had violated the rules. Now that they had already figured out that it was a misunderstanding, they naturally could not forcefully attack the guest. Benefactor Yun, this is all our fault. Don't bother with us, Ji Kong said with an apologetic smile. Yun Chujio snorted coldly. Don't bother with you? You were gloating just now, wishing that I would be caned. I don't understand. How did a kind and cute little girl like me provoke you? How could you treat me so viciously? Ji Kong and Ji Su almost spat out a mouthful of blood. How shameless could you be? How could you be kind and cute? Don't insult these two words. Although the two of them wished they could slap this guy to death, the Zen sect's rules were strict. How could they dare to attack their guests? They could only rack their brains to apologize and hope that Yun Chujio would let them off. Elder Lei Yin of the discipline hall had been watching from the side and did not say anything. Firstly, he did not know the whole story, and secondly, he also knew Yun Chujio's identity. He wanted to see what this little girl's motive was. Just when Elder Lei Yin thought that Yun Chujio was going to take the opportunity to propose some conditions, he heard her sigh and say, Forget it. I'm the softest person. Since you know that you're wrong, I won't make things difficult for you. Let's go back to the Spring of Tranquility. Ji Kong and Ji Su almost cried when they heard that. This female devil had finally relented. Otherwise they really didn't know what to do. Elder Yin shook his head as he watched the three people leave. Was he thinking too much? The little girl was not scheming anything? After a while, Hei Shinjio saw that they were quite a distance away from the discipline hall, so she said faintly, My noodles and drumsticks have been dirted by you. I'm so hungry that I'm going to whip them. Take me to the vegetarian hall to eat. Ji Kong said awkwardly, Almsgiver Yun, why don't you and junior brother Ji Su go back to the Spring of Tranquility first? I'll go to the vegetarian hall to get your vegetarian meal. You see, Ji Kong wished he could kick this guy away. However, when he saw the Zen disciples passing by looking over curiously, he gritted his teeth and said, All right, I will take you to the dining hall to eat the vegetarian meal. However, you can't run around or talk casually. Yun Chujio immediately stood up with a smile and said, Little brother Ji Kong, I knew you were the most reasonable. Let's go quickly. Ji Kong and Ji Su felt as if their hearts had been bawled out. This female devil had changed her face just like that. She was simply a drama queen. The two reluctantly brought Yun Chujio to the vegetarian hall. It was lunchtime, so there were many Zen sect disciples in the hall. When the crowd saw Yun Chujio, although no one said anything, their eyes were full of inquiry. Although there were occasional guests from the Zen sect, none of them came directly to the dining hall, let alone a female benefactor. Ji Kong and Ji Su saw the inquisitive eyes of the crowd and wished they could find a hole to hide in. Ji Kong hurriedly took a plate of vegetarian rice and handed it to Yun Chujio. Benefactor Yun, please enjoy your meal. Yun Chujio did not make things difficult for him and began to eat slowly. While Yun Chujio was enjoying her meal, she heard a cold and solemn voice say, "Jikong Jisoo, have you forgotten the rules of the sect? Why did you bring an outsider to the vegetarian hall?" Chapter 48:13. Ji Ping. Yun Chujio looked up and saw that the person who spoke was a middle-aged monk. His gaze was different from the clarity of Ji Kong and Ji Su. It was filled with calculation and ruthlessness. Ji Kong and Ji Su immediately stood up. Ji Kong quickly explained, "Senior brother Ji Ping, almsgiver Yun is hungry and happens to be very close to the dining hall, so we..." Before Ji Kong could finish his words, Ji Ping shouted sternly, "These are all excuses. Why aren't you taking your people and leaving? Otherwise, I can only ask my people to drive you out." "Senior brother Ji Ping, almsgiver Yun is a guest of the Lan family," Ji Kong wanted to explain, but was interrupted by Ji Ping again. "I don't care about the Lan family or the Hong family. The rules of the Zen sect cannot be broken. Get out now." Ji Kong had no choice but to look at Yun Chujio with a troubled expression. "Almsgiver Yun, I have already gotten you an extra vegetarian meal. Let's go now." Yun Chujio ignored Ji Kong and looked at Ji Ping. "There doesn't seem to be a rule that forbids guests from eating in the vegetarian hall, right? Can the rules of the Zen sect change so easily?" Ji Ping did not expect Yun Chujio to dare to question his words. She was just a junior of the Lan family and she dared to question him? She really did not know what she was capable of. Ji Ping snorted coldly. "Almsgiver Yun, this is not the Lan family. I advise you to stay out of trouble." Ji Kong and Ji Su suddenly had a bad premonition. They quickly said, "Almsgiver Yun, let's go quickly. Otherwise, the master of the Lan family will be worried if he can't find you." Yun Chujio glanced at the two of them and then at Ji Ping. She said faintly, "Wait until I finish eating before we leave. There's no rush." Ji Kong and Ji Su were so anxious that they wanted to bang their heads against the wall. Ji Ping revealed a cold smile. He was the direct disciple of the sect master, Master Lei. Logically speaking, he should be responsible for receiving guests. However, Master Lei handed over the task of receiving guests to a master. And every time, Master Lei would let Ji Kong and Ji Su be responsible for receiving guests. After a few times, Ji Ping's heart was no longer in balance. In his opinion, being able to receive guests on one hand showed how highly valued they were, and on the other hand could expand his network. This would be very useful for him to inherit the position of sect master in the future. Most importantly, the Zen sect was different from other sections. All the successive disciples had the qualifications to become the successor of the sect master. Therefore, Ji Ping had always disliked Ji Kong and Ji Su. However, he didn't have any evidence against them, so he didn't want to make things difficult for Ji Ping. Now that he finally found such an opportunity, he naturally had to make use of it. "Ji Kong, Ji Su, I'll give you one last chance. Either you take your people and leave now or I'll get someone to chase you out," Ji Ping said with a sneer. Ji Kong and Ji Su were about to persuade Yun Chujio when they heard a clang, followed by the sound of bowls and plates shattering. The two of them looked closely and saw that it was Yun Chujio who had kicked the table over. Their heads buzzed. This was bad. The situation was going to blow up. "If you don't want to eat, then we want to eat. Brothers, let's go." Yun Chujio turned around and was about to leave the dining hall. Ji Ping never dreamed that Yun Chujio would dare to kick the table. How could he let her leave? He shouted, "Stop. How dare you to kick the table?" Yun Chujio laughed lightly. "Old monk Ji Ping, I just accidentally knocked over the table just now. Don't accuse me wrongly." Chapter 48:14. Beat you to death, old monk? Ji Ping's nose almost went crooked from anger. Although he was older than Ji Kong and Ji Su, he was definitely not old. This wretched girl must have done it on purpose. "Stop quibbling. Someone bring her to the discipline hall," Ji Ping said exasperatedly. Ji Kong hurriedly said, "Senior brother Ji Ping, please calm down. Benefactor Yun didn't do it on purpose. Shut up. And the two of you, you left your post without permission and brought an outsider to the vegetarian hall. You can go to the discipline hall to be punished together," Ji Ping said coldly. Ji Kong and Ji Su were so anxious that their foreheads were covered in sweat. Although they wanted Yun Chujio to be punished, it was different from the current situation. They had brought Yun Chujio to the discipline hall just to vent their anger. They didn't really want to do anything to Yun Chujio. However, Ji Ping was a member of the discipline hall. He had always been ruthless and disliked them. Perhaps he would punish them directly without telling Master Lei. At that time, even if he did not die, he would still be skinned alive. At this time, 7 or 8 monks had already walked up to Yun Chujio and the other two. They looked at them with an unfriendly expression. Please? Ji Kong was about to send a message to a Master Lei when Ji Ping shouted coldly, you better behave yourselves. Otherwise I don't mind confining your spiritual power. At this moment Yun Chujio said with a chuckle, I always thought that the Zen sect was an isolated place. There was no so-called intrigue, no so-called conspiracy, and now it seems that this is all there is to it. I was only having a meal, and yet I was able to suffer such an unexpected disaster. I'm afraid, old monk Ji Ping, your intention is not in the bar, is it? Tiske, are the two little brothers Ji Kong and Ji Su in your way? That's true. The two brothers are much cuter than you. Only a blind person would choose you as the successor of the sect master. As soon as Yun Chujio's words left her mouth, the entire dining hall fell into a dead silence. Although most of the people from the Zen sect were simple-minded, they were not fools. They knew a thing or two about Ji Ping's thoughts, but no one had ever dared to say it so bluntly. This Yun Chujio was really bold. Wasn't she afraid that Ji Ping would kill her out of embarrassment? Although she was a guest and a member of the Lan family was not enough to be compared to the Zen sect. Moreover, the head of the Lan family would not fall out with the Zen sect over a mere junior. Moreover, this Yun Chujio had run to the dining hall by herself. Even if things got out of hand, she was not in the right. As expected, after Ji Ping heard Yun Chujio's words, a fierce look flashed across his eyes. Thinking of this, the Buddha power in Ji Ping's hand instantly condensed into a black lotus, and he was about to attack Yun Chujio. Seeing this, Ji Kong and Ji Su hurriedly stepped forward to stop him. Senior brother Ji Ping, you can't. A trace of viciousness flashed in Ji Ping's eyes. Just as he was about to heavily injure Ji Kong and Ji Su, he stumbled and received a heavy blow to his head, causing him to faint on the ground. Ji Kong and Ji Su were dumbfounded. They only saw a flash before they saw Ji Ping faint on the ground. What shocked them the most was that the female devil was holding a rolling pin and beating Ji Ping up. You are so shameless, you want to use me as an excuse to kill Ji Kong and Ji Su? I will beat you to death. This is for Ji Su. This is for Ji Kong. This is for me. This is for the table. Chapter 48:15 of the Zen sect was too terrifying. Logically speaking, Ji Ping's cultivation base was much higher than He Xinjia's. However, his attention was on Ji Kong and Ji Su just now, and he wanted to hit them with one strike. Who would have thought that Yun Chujio, who was trash in his eyes, would suddenly make a move? Of course, this was mainly because of the curse of Xiao Hanio. Otherwise, He Xinjio would not have had a chance to succeed. Everyone in the dining hall was dumbfounded for a moment. Even Ji Ping's subordinates could not react in time. By the time everyone reacted, Ji Ping had already been beaten until his skin and flesh were torn open. Due to the intense pain, Ji Ping had already woken up. However, his spiritual energy was restrained by Yun Chujio, and he could not resist. He cursed angrily, Yun Chujio, how dare you hit me? Even if you are from the Lan family, you can forget about leaving the Zen sect alive. Yun Chujio hit him with the rolling pin again. So what if I hit you? I am hitting you. If you have the ability, you can stand up and fight with me. A person with such a bad moral character like you should not be alive. If I hit you, I will eliminate the harm for the people. Ji Ping yelled at his subordinates angrily, aren't you going to get rid of her? Yun Chujio snorted coldly. If anyone comes over, I will smash his head with the rolling pin. Hearing that, everyone immediately did not dare to move. Ji Kong saw that the matter was getting bigger and bigger and his head was buzzing. He had no choice but to secretly send a message to Master Lei. After a while, Yun Chujio caught a glimpse of Master Lei and the old ancestor of the Lan family coming over. She raised her voice and cursed, you keep saying that I have violated the rules of the Zen sect. Bah! Aren't you just using this as a pretext to attack the two little brothers? With that petty mind of yours, are you still fooling around in front of me? Just now, it seemed like you wanted to harm me, but in fact, you wanted to use this opportunity to kill the two little brothers. You're too vicious. If the two little brothers were to meet with misfortune, our Lan family would be covered with mouths and we wouldn't be able to explain it clearly. You sure know how to use this borrowed knife to kill people. Let me tell you, I'll eat anything, but I won't be at a disadvantage. Today I must beat you to death. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, Master Lei's footsteps paused slightly. The eyes of the Lan family's patriarch also flashed, and then he shouted sternly, evil creature, stop. Yun Chujio was stunned at first, and then her face was full of tears. She threw herself in front of the Lan family's patriarch and said, Patriarch, sob, I am going to be bullied to death. Let's go back to the Lan family. This Zen sect is too scary. Everyone, can you be a little more sincere when you're lying? Who knocked over the table? Who beat Ji Ping to a pulp? The corners of the Lan family's patriarch's eyes twitched, and he said with a straight face, "What on earth is going on? Why are you in the dining hall?" Hei Xinjiu just wiped her tears and hummed without saying a word. She glanced at Ji Kong and Ji Su. Ji Kong and Ji Su had been in a daze just now. They were a little scared after hearing Yun Chuji's words. Ji Ping's cultivation level was much higher than theirs. If he had not stumbled just now, they would have been either dead or injured. Although they knew that Ji Ping was dissatisfied with them, they never thought that he would want their lives. When the two of them saw Yun Chujio looking at them, they immediately knelt in front of a Master Lei. "Master Lei, this is all our fault. We mistakenly thought that almsgiver Yun smashed the sect to eat meat and brought her to the discipline hall." After hearing what had happened, Master Lei looked at Ji Ping, who had already been released from his spiritual power. Ji Ping, is Ji Kong telling the truth? Chapter 48:16. The reason for being a demon. Many people in the dining hall had seen what had happened. Ji Ping could not deny it and nodded. "Uncle Master, Ji Kong's words are basically true. I let Yun Chujio out to protect the sect rules." Who would have thought that not only did she not listen, but she also kicked over the table and severely injured me? Yun Chujio curled her lips and snorted. "Which sect rule of the Zen sect forbids guests from eating in the dining hall? Or do you not care about the Lan family at all? Besides, why don't you tell us about your unspeakable evil intentions?" "Oh, shameless." The master of the Lan family coughed and said, "Evil creature, shut up." Yun Chujio pursed her lips and didn't say anything. Anyway, she had said what she needed to say. She didn't give that old fox for free, so she would naturally help her. This guy wasn't making trouble for no reason, including her intention to sow discord. If she had not sowed discord, Ji Kong and Ji Su would not have held a grudge and sent her to the discipline hall without any questions. She wanted to take this opportunity to stroll around the Zen sect. If she stayed in the tranquil spring, how would she be able to get any information? The reason she chose to come to the discipline hall was also because there were too many people here with too many mouths. She wanted to gather some useful information. Ji Ping's appearance was an accident. However, this fellow quickly analyzed Ji Ping's thoughts based on the information he had obtained previously. That was why he played along with Ji Ping's scheme. With this ruckus, Master Lei would more or less accept her favor. Otherwise, those two foolish disciples of his would sooner or later be played to death. As for Master Liao's side, she was not afraid. No matter how weak the Lan family was, they were still a force. She did not believe that Master Liao would really fall out with the Lan family. Moreover, she did not think that Master Liao valued Ji Ping that much. If he did, he would not have allowed Ji Ping to be so arrogant. He probably had other motives. Moreover, the competition for the successor of the Zen sect was intense. They were all eager to see what would happen to Ji Ping. Naturally, someone would speak up for her. Even if she took 10,000 steps back, the previous ones did not work. She still had an ancient Buddhist scripture in her hands. She could use it to save her own life at critical moments. Therefore, this fellow was fearless when acting like a demon. As for the purpose of doing so, firstly it was to hook up with Master Li, and secondly, it was to stir up the Zen sect so that it would be easier to fish in troubled waters. Master Li nodded and said, "Ji Ping, although your intentions are good, almsgiver Yun is after all a guest of our Zen sect. Your attitude is a little inappropriate." Master Lei's expression was normal, but Ji Ping was unable to breathe for no reason. He knew that Master Lei was releasing pressure on him. Ji Ping was secretly resentful. Why did he fall down just now? Otherwise he would have already succeeded. Even if this old thing was dissatisfied, he couldn't do anything to him. He weighed the pros and cons. If he were to go to the discipline hall, he might not be able to get any benefits. It would be better to let the Lan family bleed a little. Thinking of this, he said, "Senior uncle, I don't want to make a big deal out of this, but I was beaten up by Yun Chujio. What do you think?" Master Lei naturally understood Ji Ping's meaning, so he looked at the Lan family's ancestor. "Master Lan, what do you think?" The Lan family's ancestor glared at Yun Chujio. The matter had blown up so much that he would have to compensate Ji Ping with some pills and spirit stones. Chapter 48:17. Has Master gone mad? The old ancestor of the Lan family was about to speak when he heard Yun Chujio exclaim, "Old ancestor, my head hurts, my stomach hurts, my liver hurts, and the soles of my feet hurt. I must have suffered internal injuries from Ji Ping's anger." Old ancestor, am most likely going to die. I can't be filial in front of you anymore. Woo woo, everyone. Oh my God, how could there be such a shameless person in this world? And he's going to die? When you were beating people up just now, you were full of vigor and vitality. You're going to die in such a short period of time? The corner of the Lan family's ancestor's mouth twitched, but he still cooperated and said, Little Gio, are you all right? Sigh. Your body is not in good condition to begin with and you can't stand it. I originally wanted to bring you to the Zen sect to see the world, but I didn't expect to harm you. Hey, Shinjio was secretly happy. This old fox was even more shameless than her. Master Leia's face stiffened slightly. The Lan family really had a family background. No wonder that little girl was so random. It turned out that she learned all this from the master of the Lan family. Ji Ping was so angry that he almost died. He was clearly the victim, but now it seemed that the smelly girl was the victim. He was really angry to death. Master Lan, since Benefactor Yun and Ji Ping are both injured, why don't we forget about this matter? After all, it was just a misunderstanding, Master Lei said with a smile. Alright, although little Nine is quite angry, she is also in the wrong after all. Let's forget about this matter, the Lan family's old ancestor said with a sigh. Ji Ping, what do you think? Master Lei looked at Ji Ping again. Ji Ping was so angry that he was twitching. However, he could tell that no matter how persistent he would not get any benefits. Anyway, there was still plenty of time in the future and he would have the chance to deal with them again. Therefore he nodded. Then well do as Martial Uncle says. The matter was settled. After Master Lei said a few more polite words to the Lan family's patriarch, he arranged for the 3 people to be sent back to the Spring of Tranquility. After Master Lei returned to the meditation room, Ji Kong and Ji Su hurriedly knelt down and admitted their mistakes. Master, we were wrong. Master Lei sighed. He had taught them the method of cultivation, but he had not taught them how to be vicious. This was his negligence. This was also the reason why Master Lei had arranged for them to receive guests. He wanted them to understand more about the ways of the world. Originally, Master Lei did not care too much about this. After all, he did not plan to let his 2 disciples fight for the successor of the sect leader. He just did not expect Ji Ping to have the intention to kill them. Master Lei then thought of the evil Yun Chujio. It would be great if his 2 disciples had the little girl's tender heart. However, she probably did all this to sell him a favor. Could it be that she wanted him to reveal some information about her parents? If that was the case, she had made a big mistake. This matter was of great importance and he would not reveal anything no matter what. Ji Kong and Ji Su could not help but blame themselves even more when they saw Master Lei sighing and sighing without saying anything. Master Lei, we have realized our mistake. We will definitely be careful with our words and actions in the future. Forget it. Get up. Indeed, you should be careful with your words and actions. However, you should also learn from that little girl. Don't be too stubborn. Master Lei saw that Ji Kong and Ji Su were still at a loss. He could not say it too directly, so he could only continue saying, You 2 go to the quiet spring. If you have nothing to do, chat with that little girl more. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other. Talk to that female devil more? Has Master gone mad? Chapter 48:18 Buddha Lotus. Although Ji Kong and Ji Su didn't quite understand Master Leia's intention, they still obediently went to the Spring of Tranquility. When they arrived, they saw the female devil sighing. Little brothers, I was punished by the old ancestor. He said that when I go back he will lock me up in the forbidden area. Don't you blame yourself? If you didn't capture me to the discipline hall and didn't do it to avenge you, I wouldn't have been punished, Yun Chujio said with a sad face. Ji Kong and Ji Su immediately looked guilty when they heard that. If the female devil hadn't taken the opportunity to subdue Ji Ping, they wouldn't be standing here now. Almsgiver Yun, it's our fault. I'm sorry, Ji Kong said guiltily. Yun Chujio waved her hand. Forget it, forget it. If I hadn't insisted on going to the discipline hall, nothing would have happened. If you want to blame someone, blame that Ji Ping. He's really something. By the way, I've never seen Buddhist cultivators fight before. Is the black lotus that Ji Ping condensed very powerful? Ji Kong quickly explained, according to the level of Buddhist power, the color of the lotus condensed is also different. The lowest level is the white lotus, followed by the yellow lotus, the black lotus, the blue lotus, the red lotus, and the golden lotus. Each color is divided into 9 levels. Junior brother Ji Su and I are only at the 7th level of the black Buddha lotus, and Ji Ping is already at the 9th level of the black Buddha lotus. Naturally, he is much more powerful than us. Yun Chujio nodded. What level of spiritual power is the Black Buddha lotus equivalent to? It's probably not much different from the extreme spiritual power, Ji Kong said. Yun Chujio calculated in her heart. In this way the Zen sect was indeed much more powerful than the Lan family. Ji Kong and the others were a level higher than Lan Luoqing and the others in their generation, not to mention many elders. He Xinjiu thought of the illusory old monk she met in the fallen god abyss. Back then the old monk had set up some Buddha-like golden lotus array and condensed a golden lotus. In this case, wasn't that Buddha-like golden lotus array very awesome? Yun Chujio closed her eyes and recalled the location of the Buddha lotus. She felt that she had discovered something amazing. If the Buddha lotus were replaced with Buddhist cultivators, it would definitely be a wonderful array formation. However, it was useless to know. She and these Zen sect people were enemies. Naturally, she would not be stupid enough to tell them. Yun Chujio did not say anything for a long time. Ji Kong and Ji Su were puzzled, but they did not know what to say. They could only stand aside foolishly. Yun Chujio came back to her senses and said with a smile, "Although your cultivation level is lower than Ji Ping's, you are younger than him. Sooner or later you will surpass him." Ji Kong and Ji Su could not help but feel touched when they heard that. This female devil was not too bad. However, Yun Chujio continued, "However, since you are so stupid, I don't think you will live to see that day. Ji Kong, Ji Su, it was better to be fed to the dogs." "What? Are you not convinced? I'm not trying to hurt you. If you hadn't met me, you would have been played to death by Ji Ping in no time." Yun Chujio curled her lips and said. Ji Su said, "Unconvinced? What you said is a little too serious. Even if Ji Ping is dissatisfied with us, he didn't do anything before this. As long as we are careful with our words and actions, he won't be able to catch us and do anything to us." Chapter 48:19. The little bell on the wrist. Yun Chujio looked at Ji Su as if she was looking at an idiot. "I can't do anything to you? I'm afraid Ji Ping has already done a lot of things in secret. Otherwise, with the status of a master Li, why didn't anyone stand up for you in the dining hall today? Why didn't anyone send a message to a master Li for you?" Ji Kong and Ji Zu's expressions changed when they heard this. They had not thought of this before, but after hearing what Yun Chujio said, it was true. At that time, there was not even a single person who stood up for them. They thought about it again. It seemed that they did not know since when the disciples who were on good terms with them no longer interacted with them. It was just that they were focused on cultivating Buddhism and did not pay attention to these things. Yun Chujio continued, "Before you knew it, Ji Ping had already isolated you. Only the two of you idiots were kept in the dark, right? Furthermore, it's true that you are cautious in your words and actions. However, if the other party is picky, it's useless no matter how cautious you are. That's because your existence is a threat to some people. Even if you do nothing, you are still a thorn in their side." Ji Kong and Ji Su were obviously shocked by Yun Chujio's words. They stood there in a daze for a long time without saying anything. Yun Chujio did not say anything else. Instead, she was thinking about her next step. She had secretly contracted some spirit bees and spirit butterflies to help her gather information. However, firstly, their levels were too low. Secondly, her parents' affairs were relatively confidential, so she was unable to gather any useful information. It seemed that she could only return empty-handed this time. After all, she had already committed a demon once, so she could not continue. Yun Chujio looked at the stunned Ji Kong and Ji Su and curled the corners of her lips. Fortunately, she had some gains. In a few days she would be able to close the net. After a long while, Ji Kong and Ji Su finally came to their senses. They seemed very confused. Ji Kong said, "Almsgiver Yun, what you said just now is indeed reasonable, but Buddha said..." Yun Chujio interrupted him impatiently, "Don't talk to me about the Buddhist scriptures. Nothing is absolute, just like Buddha didn't let you kill people, right? But your Zen sect has killed fewer people? So don't be so stubborn. Be more flexible, understand. If you don't want to die, if you don't want your master to be implicated by you, I will teach you a few moves. If you think I'm talking nonsense, just pretend that I didn't say anything." Ji Kong and Ji Su were even more confused. Yun Chujio ignored them and sat at the side to cultivate. The next morning, Ji Kong said to Yun Chujio, "Benefactor Yun, junior brother Ji Su and I have thought it through. Please teach us the flexible way." Ji Kong and Ji Su nodded repeatedly. They had thought about it for the entire night and finally understood. Although Buddha said that they would not fight over it, they could not just sit back and wait for death when there were people fighting over it. When they thought about how their master said that they should chat with the demoness more, their master's original intention was probably to let them learn the path of flexibility from the demoness. Yun Chujio raised her eyebrows. Teaching is fine, but you can't teach for free. You have to pay some tuition fees. Ji Kong and Ji's heart sank. This demoness wouldn't be so greedy, right? Yun Chujio covered her mouth and giggled. Look at how scared you are. I'm just teasing you. Ji Kong and Ji Su were speechless, but Ji Kong was a little stunned when he saw the red rope on Yun Chujio's wrist. Why did the little bell on almsgiver Yun's wrist look familiar? Chapter 48:20, The Female Devil from 10,000 Years Ago. Seeing Ji Kong staring at her wrist, Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. After leaving the demon territory, the demon sky bell and the wooden fish had not made any movements, so she had forgotten about these two things. It was not that Yun Chujio did not think of breaking the red rope with a big kitchen knife, but she was afraid of breaking the demon sky bell and the wooden fish, so she did not make a move. Judging from Ji Kong's expression, could it be related to the Zen sect? Thinking about it, it made sense. Both of them were related to Buddha, so it might be related to the Zen sect. Fortunately, they had become smaller, so it would not be too troublesome if someone saw them. Yun Chujio deliberately waved her right wrist in front of Ji Kong, and then asked shyly, "Little brother Ji Kong, why are you staring at my wrist? Do you have a crush on me?" Ji Kong was so scared that he sat down on the ground and said in horror, "Patron Yun, be careful. This penniless monk has already become a monk." Ji Kong was very scared. Putting aside the question of whether he should break the rules or not, even if he really had a mortal heart, he would not dare to take a fancy to such a female devil. Yun Chujio curled her lips. "Since you don't have a crush on me, why are you staring at my wrist?" "It's because the little bell on your wrist is very similar to the precious treasure lost by our Zen sect." So this penniless monk took a few more glances at it. Ji Kong said, "The lost precious treasure? What precious treasure?" Yun Chujio asked curiously. Ji Kong said with a wry smile, "It's called the Bitter Zen sect. It said that 10,000 years ago, our Zen sect met a female devil. Our Zen sect was originally called the Bitter Zen sect. That female devil said that we were stupid. How could she give herself such a name? Therefore, she forcefully erased the word bitter from the plaque and spread the news that our Bitter Zen sect had changed its name to Zen. Since things had come to this, our Bitter Zen sect had no choice but to change to Zen. This was nothing. The most outrageous thing was that the female devil also stole two treasures from our Zen sect. One was the daybreak bell and the other was the sunset wooden fish. Therefore, our Zen sect originally had 5 treasures, but now we only have 3. The detestable thing was that the demoness was still saying that there should only be 3 treasures in Buddhism. If there were 5 treasures, wouldn't that break the rules? She is helping us so that our Zen sect won't be too grateful to her. Yun Chujio's eyes widened. My goodness, this demoness style really suited her taste. She asked curiously, "What happened after that?" However, after that, something unexpected happened to that female devil, and her strength was greatly reduced. Our Zen sect tried to capture her everywhere, but she used evil schemes to escape time and time again. Later on, she regained her strength and became the ghost ancestor. There was nothing we could do to her. However, I heard that the ghost ancestor died not long after that. I guess she suffered retribution. You are the one who suffered retribution. Your Zen sect has suffered retribution. Hei Shinjio blurted out. The fellow also finished his sentence and regretted it. He quickly added, I mean, there is always a cause and effect. There must be a reason why your Zen sect was treated like this by that female devil. Ji Kong and Ji Su were dazed for a moment. A moment later they put their palms together and said, Almsgiver Yun, you are indeed smart. What you said makes sense. We were wrong. Hei Shinjio humbly said a few words before she breathed a sigh of relief. She had almost said something bald. Chapter 48:21 would probably beat her to death, right? Under the cover of her sleeves, Hei Shinjio touched the demon sky bell and the wooden fish on her left and right wrists. It turned out that she was the one who robbed them? The guy suddenly felt a headache. If these monks knew that she was the reincarnation of the ghost ancestor, they would probably beat her to death, right? The guy rolled his eyes and said, since the 2 treasures were taken by the ghost ancestor, they should be in the ghost domain. I'm afraid that your Zen sect will not be able to find them. Ji Kong sighed and said, yes, our Zen sect has portraits of the breaking dawn bell and the wooden fish in the evening of she in all the scriptures halls, hoping to find the treasures. However, it has been 10,000 years and there has been no news at all. Yun Chujio was secretly happy. Of course they would not be able to find them. That thing was in the demon realm. To be precise, it was in the black bead. Even if you were exhausted to death, you would not be able to find it. Ji Kong was secretly happy in his heart, but he said, you can't force things. Maybe these two treasures are not related to the Zen sect, which is why they were taken away by that female devil. Ji Kong and Ji Su did not know what to say. They just shook their heads and smiled bitterly, not saying a word. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and asked curiously, tell me more about that female devil. I'm so smart. Maybe I can help you find some clues. Ji Kong shook his head. How could we know so much about what happened 10,000 years ago? I only heard about it from the elders in the clan. However, it is said that the female devil acted recklessly because of her high spiritual power. The worst thing is that it is said that she flirts with beautiful men. Cough, cough, cough. Hei Shinjio, who was drinking water, almost choked to death. Although she liked to look at handsome men, she wouldn't go around flirting with them, right? Slander. Blatant slander. It's okay, go on. I was just shocked by this female devil's shamelessness, Hei Shinjio said while coughing. That's all I know. Although that female devil acted recklessly, she still lost her life in the end. Therefore the only way is to convert to Buddhism. Almsgiver Yun, I see that you have a lot of wisdom, why not? Stop. Stop. I still want to marry and give birth to a little monkey, and not going to become a monk. Yun Chujio said angrily. This fellow suddenly remembered that every time she was struck by lightning, she would become bald. Could it be that she had offended a monk in her previous life? So she was punished? However, she remembered a crucial question and asked, little brother Ji Kong, I'm puzzled. Logically speaking, your Zen sect is so powerful, why can't you do anything to that female devil? Is she that powerful? I don't know. It seems that the female devil appeared out of thin air. She should not be from the Chongshao continent. Almsgiver Yun, let's not talk about that female devil. Please teach me and my junior brother the way of flexibility. Ji Kong said anxiously. Ji Kong and Ji Su immediately said with serious expressions, monks should not talk nonsense. Lying is a cardinal rule. No, absolutely not. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and said, since you say so, I have nothing to say. I don't care about your affairs anymore. See you later. After saying that, Hei Shinjio skipped away. Ji Kong and Ji Su were at a loss. What should they do? Chapter 48-22. She was the demon ancestor. Hei Shinjio hopped back to the quiet spring. Seeing that the patriarch of the Lan family and Elder Tuo were concentrating on their cultivation, he returned to his cabin. Buttface asked Qiying if he knows about the grudge between the Zen sect and the ghost ancestor. Yun Chujio said with her sole consciousness. After hearing Buttface's words, Qiying frowned. I also heard that the Zen sect hates the ghost ancestor to the bone, but I don't know the exact reason. Yun Chujio thought for a while. This was normal. The Zen sect had lost face, so naturally they would not go out and make a fuss. She then asked, then tell me about what happened before the ghost ancestor became the ghost ancestor. Qiying said unhappily, how would I know? I'm not an old monster from 10,000 years ago. Anyway, according to your character, you must have been a troublemaker in your previous life. Otherwise, why would the Zen sect hunt you down for no reason? Yun Chujio took his words as a compliment and asked again, do you know where the ghost ancestor came from? Why does she have such a powerful cultivation? I don't know. Let's not talk about this first. When are you going to change my body into a human body? Qiying said impatiently. Yun Chujio snorted coldly, I see that your position in the Divine Devil Hall is not that good. Otherwise, how could you not know anything? You are simply a piece of trash. Qiying was so angry that his rabbit eyes turned even redder. Not much. And purple mask. If it weren't for you, I might have become a protector by now. It's all your fault for ruining my good deed. Qiying said exasperatedly. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. So after all this time, you're just a purple mask. I thought you were so powerful. It seems that you have no value left to be used. When we return to the Lan family, he'll turn you into ashes. Although Yun Chujio said that, her heart sank. According to what she knew, the Divine Devil Hall had black-masked men, silver-masked men, Jin-Mian men, and then purple-masked men. According to Qiying, there were protectors above them? The purple-masked man was already very difficult to deal with, so wouldn't the protector's strength be even more shocking? When she thought of the big hand that once tore through the void, the strength of the Divine Devil Hall Master was probably even more terrifying. Qiying did not know that Yun Chujio was scaring him. He hurriedly said, Yun Chujio, I was joking with you just now. Actually, I know some things about the ghost ancestor. Oh? You are not lying to me, right? What I said is true. It is said that the ghost ancestor had an affair with the Sheng Zun. That relationship was born in the Chongshao continent. If you wander around the Chongshao continent more, you might be able to recall the memories of your previous life. Qi Ying's eyes flashed with a trace of calculation. If this wretched girl had been hiding in the Lan family, the Divine Devil Hall would not be able to deal with her. As long as she went out and wandered around, she might be caught by the Divine Devil Hall. Moreover, it was not bad that she had really awakened her memories. Once she found out about the entanglement between her past life and Di Biming, they might turn against each other. She was really looking forward to it. Yin Chuzhou was so smart. She immediately understood Qi Ying's meaning, but she did not point it out. Alright, since you still have some value, I'll keep you for now. You'd better be more honest or else HMP. Qi Ying agreed with a sullen tone. He was secretly hating in his heart. Sooner or later, he would find an opportunity to escape from the control of this wretched girl. With her alone, she still wanted to fight with their master? Dream on. Yun Chuzhou lowered her head and looked at the demon sky bell and the little wooden fish on her wrist. Since these two things originally belonged to her, then she should be the demon ancestor. She was both the demon ancestor and the demon ancestor. She was really powerful in her previous life, but how did she die? Chapter 48-23 He Xingjiu thought for a while but could not think of anything. She decided not to think about it. After a while, Ji Kong and Ji Su came to look for her. They expressed their willingness to learn with stiff faces. They were lying through their teeth. You are a promising child. It seems that you can still be saved. Come, your task today is to go out and lie to one person. No matter what, as long as it is a lie, it will be fine, Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked troubled. Go out and lie to others? Amitabha Buddha won't blame them, right? Yun Chuzhou said with a chuckle. Wine and meat go through the intestines. Buddha will keep it in his heart. Why do you have to stick to appearances? This is like killing evil people as doing good deeds. Don't be so stubborn. Ji Kong and Ji Su were stunned. What this female devil said seemed to make sense. However, the two of them were still in a dilemma. What? Oh. They had never done such a difficult thing before. Yun Chuzhou seemed to have seen through their thoughts. She smiled and said, when you lie, you must first lie to yourself. Only when you believe in yourself can you lie to others. Ji Kong and Ji Su were still confused, but they could only bite the bullet and go out to lie to others. For the next few days, Ji Kong and Ji Su went out to lie to others according to Yun Chuzhou's instructions. In the beginning they would blush before they even said anything, not to mention lying to others. After a few times they became much more natural. Although they could not compare to He Xingjiu, they were still much better than before. Since they had already broken their commandments, Yun Chuzhou asked them to do some trivial things so the two of them were not so conflicted anymore. Therefore, Ji Kong and Ji Su ran further and further away on the road of darkening. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed, and He Xingjiu felt that it was time to reel in the net. Brothers, your mission today is to have a Master Lei summon me alone, Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Ji Kong and Ji Su felt that this mission was too simple. As long as they said that this female devil requested to see them, they believed that their master would see her. However, when they told a master that Yun Chuzhou requested to see her, Master Lei shook his head. Tell her that I don't have time to see her. Ji Su asked in confusion, Master, why don't you want to see her? I know what to do. You don't have to ask anymore. Master Lei obviously didn't want to say anything else. Ji Kong and Ji Su were dumbfounded when they left. If the two of them had encountered such a problem before, they would have been helpless. However, their minds were much more flexible now and they quickly came up with a solution. The two of them entered a Master Lei's meditation room again. Master, almsgiver Yun said that she has news about the breaking dawn bell. We didn't think she was lying, so we came to report it. Master Lei stood up from the futon. What? Breaking dawn bell? Is what you said true? Ji Kong and Ji Su felt guilty, but they looked confident. Yes, Master. We didn't say it just now because we were afraid that she was lying and you would blame us, so we didn't mention it. Master Lei believed it. He didn't know that his two disciples had been led astray. Alright, call Yun Chuzhou over immediately. If the master of the Lan family asks, just say that I want to ask about something. There's no need to say anything else. Yes, Master. When Ji Kong and Ji Su came out, their legs suddenly went weak and they almost fell to the ground. They had actually deceived their master. Chapter 4824. Heavy sins. Upon hearing Ji Kong and Ji's words, Hei Shinjio had a complicated look on her face. What these two fellows said was not a lie. Not only did she know the whereabouts of the Daybreak Bell, but it was also on her. This fellow rolled his eyes. She could pin this matter on the Divine Devil Hall and then dog-eat-dog. Ah, she was really too smart. Hence, this fellow happily went to a Master Lei's meditation room. When Master Lei saw Yun Chujio, he could not wait to ask, "Benefactor Yun, the two of them said that you know the whereabouts of the Breaking Dawn Bell. Is that true?" Yun Chujio nodded. "That's right, I do have some clues." Ji Kong and Ji Su, who were at the side, saw Yun Chujio lying without a blush or panting. They were completely impressed. They reckoned that even if they studied for their entire lives, they would not be able to compare to this female devil. Master Lei asked anxiously, "Oh? Benefactor Yun, quickly tell me about it." Yun Chujio smiled and said, "This is an important matter. Can you let Ji Kong and Ji Su go out for a while?" Master Lei did not bother to correct her and immediately chased Ji Kong and Ji Su out. Yun Chujio saw Ji Kong and Ji Su go out and said with a smile, "Master Lei, let's not beat around the bush. I can tell you the clues to the Breaking Dawn Bell, but you have to exchange something for it." Master Lei was stunned at first, then he understood what Yun Chujio meant. He calmed himself down and said, "Do you want to know about your parents? Benefactor Yun, I advise you to put this idea out of your mind. Otherwise you will get into trouble." "Master Lei, those are my biological parents. Even if I get into trouble, I can't just ignore it. I don't have any excessive requests. Even if you let me see them, it's fine." Yun Chujio said with a sorrowful look. Master Lei held the Buddhist beads and sighed. "I can understand your feelings, but the two of them have committed grave sins. I can't do anything about it." Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. "You are the one who has committed grave sins. Your entire family has committed grave sins." She sighed. "Master, since you've said so, I won't force you. I'll go back now." After saying that, Yun Chujio turned around and was about to leave. Master Lei was not willing to let her leave. He gritted his teeth and said, "Wait. Although I can't let you meet, I can tell you some news." Yun Chujio's eyes lit up when she heard that. "What news?" Master Lei's eyes flashed. "Tell me the location of the Breaking Dawn Bell first. I naturally won't misspeak." Yun Chujio was not afraid that the old monk would lie to her, so she said, "I also found out by accident that the people of the Divine Devil Hall found the Breaking Dawn Bell in the Ghost Realm." Yun Chujio did not say anything either. Sometimes, the more she explained, the more guilty she felt. Master Lei did not seem to be lying when he saw Yun Chujio's magnanimous look. Then he thought that the ghost ancestor must have taken the Breaking Dawn Bell and she won wooden fish to the Ghost Realm. The people of the Divine Devil Hall found the Breaking Dawn Bell in the Ghost Realm. It was not impossible. After a while, Yun Chujio said, "Master Lei, I have told you the whereabouts of the Broken Dawn Bell. Can you tell me the news about my parents?" Master Lei sighed. "Almsgiver Yun, you can rest assured about one thing. Although they cannot leave the Zen sect, their lives are not in danger. You don't need to ask about the rest." Chapter 48-25 Jade Glass Bodhiseed Hei Shinjio was so angry that she almost died. It was as if he didn't say anything. This old monk was too hateful. "Master Lei, can you tell me what exactly they did wrong?" "Amitabha. Their sins are so great that they can't atone for them even after spending their whole lives," Master Lei replied. Yun Chujio finally realized that this old monk was really cunning. He only said a few sentences back and forth. "Is there really no way to make up for it? What if I can help you take back the Breaking Dawn Bell and she won wooden fish?" Master Lei's eyes lit up, but he immediately shook his head. "Even so, we can't release the two of them. Almsgiver Yun, please give up on this idea." Yun Chujio secretly hated these damn monks. "Just you wait. I will destroy the Zen sect sooner or later. Let's see if you will let it go." This guy knew that he wouldn't be able to get anything out of them even if he asked again. Just as he was about to leave, he heard a powerful bell chime. This guy was so scared that he almost sat on the ground. She thought it was the sound of the demon heaven bell on her wrist. After listening carefully, she found that the bell chime came from outside. It was a false alarm. She was scared to death. Master Lei quickly stood up and walked out in a hurry. "Benefactor Yun, something big has happened in the sect. You should return to the Spring of Tranquility first." After Master Lei said that, he ordered Ji Kong and Ji Su to send Yun Chujio back to the Spring of Tranquility. Then they quickly gathered in the square and disappeared in a few flashes. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. "Brothers, let's go. I'll go with you to have a look." Ji Kong and Ji Su wanted to refuse, but after understanding each other for the past few days, they felt that even if they refused, this female devil had 100 ways to make them agree, so they didn't bother. Therefore, the two of them brought Hei Shinjo to the square outside the Great Hall of Heroes. It was the first time that Yun Chujo saw such a magnificent Great Hall of Heroes. The Buddha statues inside were solemn, and even Yun Chujo, who was fearless, had some respect in her heart. Many Zen sect disciples gathered in the square. Several elders and Master Liaowu stood in the grand hall. Hei Shinjo was puzzled. What on earth had happened? Could it be that her parents had been rescued? Yun Chujo stood on her tiptoes and looked into the great hall. When she saw Master Liaowu and the other elders, her face was full of joy. She pursed her lips. It seemed that something good had happened instead of something bad. What on earth was good? Just when this guy was curious, he saw Master Liaowu couldn't hide his joy and said loudly, "Amitabha Buddha, please bless us. The Bodhi seed of the jade glass Bodhi has begun to shed its shell. It is expected to mature this evening." As soon as Master Liaowu finished speaking, everyone immediately exploded. "Oh my God, I never thought that I would be able to see a mature jade glass Bodhi seed in my lifetime. Amitabha. It is really Buddha's blessing. It would be great if I was lucky enough to obtain a jade glass Bodhi seed." That's right. Legend has it that the jade glass Bodhi seed chooses its owner automatically. If one were to forcefully pluck it, one would be injured by the Buddha's power contained within. Yin Chujo was confused. Jade glass Bodhi seed? Why did it look like it was very valuable? She looked at Ji Kong, who was equally excited, and asked in a low voice, "What is jade glass Bodhi seed? Is it very valuable?" Chapter 48-26 was interesting. Ji Kong said excitedly, "Almsgiver Yun, you may not know this, but the jade glass Bodhi tree is one of the most important treasures of our Zen sect. It blooms once every 1,000 years and bears fruit once every 1,000 years. However, the timing of this Bodhi seed's ripening is uncertain. It has been bearing fruit for more than 2,000 years, and it is finally about to mature." Yun Chujo was still a little confused. The jade glass Bodhi seed is the fruit of the jade glass Bodhi tree? Yes and no. To be exact, the jade glass Bodhi seed is the core of the jade glass Bodhi fruit. The jade glass Bodhi seed will only mature when the outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi fruit fades automatically. Moreover, the jade glass Bodhi seed cannot be picked by itself. It has to take the initiative to recognize its master. It was the lifelong pursuit of all the Zen sect disciples to possess a string of jade glass Bodhi seed beads. However, very few of them could achieve their wishes. Firstly, in the entire Chongshao continent, there was only one jade glass Bodhi tree in the Zen sect. Secondly, it would only mature once every several thousand years. Most importantly, not all the mature jade glass Bodhi seeds would recognize their master. A large portion of them would fall into the soil and turn into nutrients for the jade glass Bodhi seeds. Therefore, this jade glass Bodhi seed is very rare, Ji Kong explained. "Why can't you pick it yourself?" Yun Chujo asked again. "Because the Buddha power contained in the jade glass Bodhi seed is very pure. If you pick it yourself, not only will the jade glass Bodhi seed self-destruct, but the person who picks it will also be injured by the Buddha power." Yun Chujo nodded. This jade glass Bodhi seed had quite a temper. It was quite interesting. While Yun Chujo was thinking about it, she heard Master Liaowu say, "Everyone wait under the jade glass Bodhi tree. Buddha will cross the fated ones, so whether you can get the jade glass Bodhi seed depends on your good fortune." Everyone immediately cheered and jumped in a direction. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at Yun Chujo with a troubled expression. "Benefactor Yun, let us send you back to the spring of tranquility first." Yun Chujo blinked her eyes. "What if you send me the jade glass Bodhi seed when it matures? Wouldn't you miss out on a great opportunity?" "I might as well follow you and take a look. I'm not a monk, so I don't think that jade glass Bodhi seed will choose me." Ji Kong and Ji Su hesitated for a moment. To be honest, they were also worried that they would miss the opportunity if they went. They gritted their teeth and said, "All right, then you can come with us, but I know what you want to say. Don't worry. If a master lay blames me, he'll just say that I went by myself. I promise I won't implicate you guys." Yun Chujo ran after her as she spoke. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other and smiled bitterly. They had no choice but to follow her. The jade glass Bodhi tree was also at the back of the main peak of the Zen sect. However, it was in a different direction from the tranquil spring. By the time Hei Shinjo arrived, it was already crowded with people. In the middle of the crowd was an ancient tree. Its leaves were as green as the best jade, emitting a lustrous glow. The fruits that had shed their shells were pitch black and lustrous. At a glance, they had the effect of calming one's mind. Everyone's attention was on the jade glass Bodhi tree. Only a few people noticed that Yun Chujio had sneaked in. However, they did not have the time to bother about her now, so Hei Shinjio stood at the back calmly to watch the show. To be honest, this fellow was really not interested in this jade glass Bodhi seed. He just wanted to watch the show. After all, she was not cultivating Buddha energy. This thing was useless to her. It was even worse than melon seeds. At least, it could be eaten. Chapter 48-27, Get Lost. Ji Kong and Ji Su wanted to squeeze to the front, but they could not leave Yun Chujio alone, so they could only stand at the back. Master Lei missed his disciple and wondered why Ji Kong and Ji Su were not back yet. Could it be that the little girl was up to something again? He glanced around the crowd and saw Hei Shinjio looking around in confusion. Master Lei felt a buzzing sound in his head. Why was this little girl here? When he saw Ji Kong and Ji Su beside Yun Chujio, his heart sank. Could it be that they had brought her here? What nonsense! Master Lei walked through the crowd to the front of the three people and said with a slightly gloomy face, "Benefactor Yun, why are you here?" Ji Kong and Ji Su were so scared that they shivered. It's over, this time they couldn't avoid being punished. Yun Chujio laughed lightly. Master Lei, what you said is wrong. Didn't sect leader Wu also say it before? The Buddha crossed the fated person, and there was also a saying that all beings are equal. Since we are all the same person, why can't I come here? Perhaps the reason why this jade glass Bodhi tree is mature is because I have entered the Zen sect. Otherwise, it might take a long time before it can shed its shell. Master Lei was choked by this guy's unreasonable arguments. He could only glare at Ji Kong and Ji Su, who were pretending to be quails, and said, "This matter is of great importance. Follow me to see Master Liao." Yun Chujio nodded. In fact, this guy did not have to stay here to watch the show. However, these old monks had imprisoned her parents. She liked to go against them. Master Lei led Yun Chujio to the front. Before he could speak to Master Liaowu, Ji Ping shouted, "Master Liaowu? Yun Chujio, how dare you? How dare you intrude into the forbidden area of our Zen sect?" Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Forbidden area? Where does it say forbidden area? Besides, Master Liaowu and the other elders are here. How dare you speak? Get out of my way. Ji Ping never thought that Yun Chujio would dare to be so arrogant here. He was stunned for a moment. Master Liaowu frowned and then looked at a master. "Master Liaowu, why did you bring Master Yun here?" Master Lei secretly complained. How could he bring her here? However, if he denied it, his two stupid disciples would be punished. Therefore he said to Master Liaowu, "Master, Yun Chujio said that she knows about the breaking dawn bell. That's why I asked Ji Kong and Ji Su to bring her here." Their master was the same. Even though he was clearly lying, he still taught them not to speak nonsense. Fortunately, they met the female devil. Otherwise, wouldn't they have to muddle through the rest of their lives? If an elder knew what these two were thinking, he would be so angry that he would vomit blood. He had no choice, all right? If it wasn't for the sake of exonerating them, would he have lied? Master Liaowu was immediately shocked. Is this true? Amitabha Buddha bless us. It seems that this is a blessing for us to imprison Yun Fongjin and Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio almost choked. This damn old monk actually said such words in front of her. Was he not afraid of being struck to death by heavenly lightning? Boom. A purple heavenly lightning descended from the sky and struck Master Liaowu. Chapter 48-28 struck the old monk, causing him to croak. Master Liaowu's cultivation level was extremely high. Although the incident happened suddenly, he still managed to avoid the lightning and was not struck. Even so, he was still scared out of his wits. All he could do was chant the name of Buddha, Amitabha, Amitabha, as a master had activated the isolation array in advance. Other than a few people, no one else heard the conversation between Master Liaowu and Master Lei. Therefore, everyone was dumbfounded. Why was the master struck by lightning? Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. Damn it! Damn it! Why didn't I kill you? It would be best if another heavenly lightning struck you. Boom. Another purple heavenly lightning struck towards Master Liaowu. Although Master Liaowu dodged the heavenly lightning once again, he was obviously frightened. His heart was beating fast. What did he do to provoke Tian Dao? Why did he have to be struck to death? Yun Chujio's heart was bursting with joy. Good strike, the old monk cried out. Again. Continue to strike. Strike him to death. Unfortunately, it didn't work this time. There was no heavenly lightning to strike again. Hei Xingjiu was really a little dumbfounded by her jinx skill. At this time, whether it worked or not, what was the difference? She had the heart to mock Master Liaowu, for example. This is what you call a blessing. There will be more blessings in the future. However, thinking that his parents were still locked up by Master Liaowu, it was better not to anger him. Therefore he blinked and did not say anything. Master Liaowu chanted the name of Buddha a few times before he calmed himself down. He activated the isolation array again and asked, "Benefactor Yun, where is the breaking dawn bell?" Hei Xingjiu blinked her eyes and said, "I will tell you if you let me meet my parents." Sect Master Liaowu's face darkened. Master Yun Fongjin and his wife have committed grave sins. You should stop clinging to this matter. If you can tell me the news of the breaking dawn bell, I will definitely reward you greatly. Yun Chujio wished that she could slap this old monk who was spouting nonsense to death. Her parents had never been to the Chongshao continent before, so how could they have committed grave sins? This old monk must be spouting nonsense. However, she finally understood that the Zen sect was determined not to let go of her parents. They didn't even allow her to see them. How hateful. Of course, our Zen sect only imprisoned the two of them. We treat them like distinguished guests and won't mistreat them, said Master Liaowu. Seeing that Master Liaowu didn't seem to be lying, Yun Chujio felt a little relieved. As long as her parents were safe, she would find a way to save them sooner or later. Then she said, "I also heard that the Godly Devil Palace found the breaking dawn bell in the ghost territory by chance. I'm not sure whether it's true or not." Hei Xingjiu was proud of herself. After all, she had only heard about it. She wouldn't be afraid even if the Zen sect wanted to settle the score with her. Although Master Liaowu was a bit suspicious, he still said, "Regardless of whether the information is accurate or not, I have to thank you, Master Yun." Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and said, "There's no need to thank me. Let me stay here and watch the show. I haven't seen the process of the jade glass Bodhi seed maturing." Master Liaowu felt that it was not a big deal for her to stay here and watch. Even if the jade glass Bodhi seed acknowledged its master, it would still choose to cultivate Buddhist power as a Zen sect disciple. It was impossible for it to choose Yun Chujio. Therefore, he revealed a rare smile and said, "Of course, almsgiver Yun, please go ahead." Chapter 48-29. Hei Xingjiu picking up the outer shell. Yun Chujio saw that Master Liaowu had agreed, so she simply stayed where she was. This place was the closest to the jade glass Bodhi tree, and it was perfect for watching a show. Ji Ping saw that not only did Master Liaowu not chase Yun Chujio away, but he also let her occupy such a good position, so he was very angry. It was not that he had not thought of dealing with Yun Chujio these days, but Yun Chujio had been cultivating in the quiet spring, so he could not find a chance at all. However, the most important thing now was the jade glass Bodhi seed. As for this bitch, she had plenty of opportunities to deal with her. At this moment, the sound of the jade glass Bodhi seed's outer shell exploding increased, and the outer shell also splashed everywhere. Hei Xingjiu curiously picked up one of the outer shells and looked at it. The outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed was also black, but compared to the lustrous jade glass Bodhi seed, this outer shell was really ordinary. Hei Xingjiu rolled her eyes. Since the jade glass Bodhi seed was so valuable, this outer shell might also be useful. Therefore, this guy began to shamelessly collect the outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed into his storage ring. Master Lei said speechlessly, "Almsgiver Yun, the outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed is useless. Why did you pick it up? Keep it for the fire. The outer shell is small and doesn't take up much space. It's much better than firewood." Hei Xingjiu said with a smile. Master Lei shook his head and didn't say anything else. The outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed was useless. She could keep it if she wanted to. Therefore, the members of the Zen sect entered Yun Chujio and gathered around the jade glass Bodhi tree to pick up the outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed like a diligent bee. Ji Ping said with disdain, "Yun Chujio, are you out of your mind? You even picked up the outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed." Yun Chujio didn't even look at him. She couldn't be bothered with such an idiot. An hour later, someone exclaimed, "Look! The jade glass Bodhi seed is ripe." The crowd looked in the direction that person was pointing at and saw a pitch-black jade glass Bodhi seed had left the jade glass Bodhi tree and was dancing around it. Yun Chujio curiously asked Ji Kong, who was standing beside her, "Ji Kong, why is that jade Bodhi seed not choosing its owner? Why is it wandering around there?" Ji Kong was speechless. After every jade Bodhi seed leaves the tree, it will circle around the jade Bodhi tree a few times before choosing its owner. I think it's because it's reluctant to part with it. Yun Chujio nodded and thought to herself, this jade Bodhi seed does have a conscience. The jade glass Bodhi seed finally stopped circling around the jade glass Bodhi tree. Instead, it began to circle above the crowd as if it was choosing its master. The Zen sect people all tried their best to attract the jade glass Bodhi seed. Some chanted Buddhist names, some chanted sutras, and some took out wooden fish to strike. In short, they all hoped that they would be favored by this jade glass Bodhi seed. However, the jade glass Bodhi seed kept circling in the air and didn't seem to have any intention of choosing a master. At this time, the sky had completely darkened, and the glowing jade glass Bodhi seeds were like stars. Seeing that the jade glass Bodhi seeds had not chosen a master for a long time, the people of the Zen sect could not help but become anxious. A disciple could not hold back the greed in his heart. He jumped up and reached out to grab the nearest jade glass Bodhi seed. Chapter 48:30 A few large bumps appeared on his forehead almost at the moment when the Zen sect disciple's hand touched the jade glass Bodhi seed. The jade glass Bodhi seed burst into black flames, and the disciple fell to the ground with a scream. The crowd suddenly became chaotic. A master lay came forward to check and shook his head. Although his life is safe, his cultivation base has been destroyed by more than half. You can't force him to do anything. You must take this as a warning. The crowd did not dare to act rashly. They could only hope that these jade glass Bodhi seeds would take the initiative to acknowledge them as their master. Ji Ping's eyes were filled with greed. However, when he saw the miserable state of that disciple, he gave up the idea of taking the initiative to attack. He prayed in his heart that the jade glass Bodhi seed would choose him. At this moment, a jade glass Bodhi seed flew towards him. Ji Ping was overjoyed. He looked at the jade glass Bodhi seed anxiously. If he was the first to be recognized as the master of the jade glass Bodhi seed, it would be very beneficial for him to fight for the position of the sect leader's successor. However, he did not expect that when the jade glass Bodhi seed saw him approaching, it flew away again. Must have just been flying. Yun Chujio could not help but burst into laughter when she saw this. This jade glass Bodhi seed was really naughty. Ji Ping was already very upset that he did not get what he wanted. Now that he heard Yun Chujio's laughter, he immediately vented his anger. Yun Chujio, what are you laughing at? Maybe it's because an outsider like you is present, that's why these jade glass Bodhi seeds haven't chosen a master yet. Ji Ping's words immediately resonated with some people. They felt that Ji Ping's words made sense and immediately became noisy. Yes, it's because you snuck in that the jade glass Bodhi seed didn't recognize you as its master. Leave quickly. Leave quickly. Sect master, quickly let this Yun Chujio leave. Otherwise, if we delay any longer, the jade glass Bodhi seed will give up on recognizing you as its master. That's right, sect master, quickly chase her away. It's now or never. If we miss this chance, we still don't know when the jade glass Bodhi seed will mature again. Master Liaowu was also a little suspicious after hearing everyone's clamor. He said to Yun Chujio in a deep voice, Benefactor Yun, the current situation is special. You should quickly leave this place and return to the Spring of Tranquility. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. Did these damn monks have nowhere to hide? They were actually still clinging to her. What did this have to do with her? However, this guy didn't want to arouse public anger, so he said obediently, all right, I'll leave now. The crowd couldn't wait for this guy to leave quickly, so they made a path for Hei Shinjio to walk out unsteadily. At this moment, Hei Shinjio felt something hit the back of her head. She cursed angrily, who the fuck set me up? Before she could turn around to look, she saw several jade glass Bodhi seeds rushing towards her. While she was in a daze, a few large bumps appeared on her forehead. Hei Shinjio was dumbfounded. Did these jade glass Bodhi seeds want to smash her to death? How did she provoke them? What's wrong with her? Her first reaction was to run. Therefore, Hei Shinjio ran in front, followed by a string of jade glass Bodhi seeds. Why are you chasing me? I'm not a Buddhist cultivator. There are so many monks here. Go and find them. Get lost. Get lost. I'm not interested in you. If you hit me again, I'll be rude to you. I'll cut you into pieces with lightning. Chapter 48:31 Hei Shinjio with a big iron pot. Hei Xinjia's words were obviously of no use to those jade glass Bodhi seeds. More and more jade glass Bodhi seeds began to surround Hei Shinjio. The spiritual energy barrier that Hei Shinjio had set up was useless. Those jade glass Bodhi seeds crashed into He Xinjia's body. Fortunately, these jade glass Bodhi seeds did not self-destruct and attack Yin Chujio with Buddhist power. Instead, they crashed into He Xinjia's body like pebbles. He Xinjio was so angry that she was twitching. However, she could not do anything about these jade glass Bodhi seeds. She could only shout, "Master Liaowu, Master Lei, save me!" Master Liaowu and the others were already dumbfounded. What had happened was beyond their understanding. Were those jade glass Bodhi seeds crazy? Why did they surround Yin Chujio? Now that they heard He Xinjia's cry for help, they could only stare at her with their eyes wide open. What could they do? These jade glass Bodhi seeds contained the power of Buddha. They couldn't be touched and they couldn't do anything about it. He Xinjio didn't come over to help when she saw that Master Liaowu and the others looked as if they were dead. In a moment of desperation, she took out the big iron pot and put it on her head. Then she squatted on the ground and did whatever she wanted. Everyone from the Zen sect was dumbfounded as they watched the jade glass Bodhi seeds smashing towards the big iron pot one after another. It was as if they would not stop until they smashed Yin Chujio out. He Xinjio was hiding in the big iron pot. When she heard the ding-dong sounds outside, she was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Indeed, there were no good things in the Zen sect. Even the jade glass Bodhi seeds were against her. She was puzzled. How did she provoke these damn jade glass Bodhi seeds? Did the ghost ancestor do anything to provoke the jade glass Bodhi tree other than abducting the demon Skybell and the wooden fish? Other than that, she could not figure out why these jade glass Bodhi seeds were targeting her so much. She had seen a ghost. He Xinjio opened a crack in the big iron pot and shouted, "Hey, I'm warning you. If you hit me again, I won't hold back. My thunder is not a joke." The sound of the collision grew louder and louder in response. He Xinjio was so angry that she was twitching and shouting, "Are you monks all dead? Don't you care about these damn things? Come and get these damn things away." The Zen sect disciples were so angry that they almost died. Did she think that they did not want these jade glass Bodhi seeds? The main thing was that these jade glass Bodhi seeds had gone crazy and surrounded her. What could they do? He Xinjio looked at the demon Skybell and the little wooden fish on her wrist and tried to communicate with them with her spiritual sense. No matter what, they were friends with the jade glass Bodhi tree. Maybe they could make these damn things let her go. Unfortunately, the demon Skybell and the little wooden fish did not have any reaction, so He Xinjio had to give up on this idea. She could not hide in the big metal pot forever. How could she escape? The guy gritted his teeth. To catch a thief, one must first catch the leader. Although the jade glass Bodhi seeds had already left the tree, she did not believe that they would ignore the life and death of the jade glass Bodhi tree. Therefore, she rushed towards the jade glass Bodhi tree with the big black pot. "Get the fuck away from me, or I will burn your mother to ashes." He Xinjio put away the big black pot and said fiercely. The jade glass Bodhi seed stopped a few feet away from Yin Chujio. However, He Xinjio did not know if it was an illusion, but she felt that the jade glass Bodhi seeds were not afraid but proud. Chapter 48-32. This was her good fortune. Just as He Xinjio was feeling suspicious, the branches of the jade glass Bodhi tree suddenly grew and bound He Xinjio tightly. He Xinjio wailed, "Help! This tree demon has turned into a spirit." Master Liaowu and the others were dumbfounded. Although they knew that the jade glass Bodhi tree was not an ordinary object, this was the first time they had seen it hurt someone. However, it was also Yin Chujio's fault. If she had not used the jade glass Bodhi tree to threaten the jade glass Bodhi tree, she would not have ended up like this. Sect leader Lei Wu put his palms together and said, "Master Liaowu, the jade glass Bodhi tree is the holy tree of our sect. There is no reason for us to attack it. Everything has a cause and effect. Everything is caused by your actions, so there is nothing we can do to help." He Xinjio was almost angered to death. This old bald donkey was simply heartless. What did she do? She was also forced by those jade glass Bodhi seeds, alright? It was better to beg others than to beg oneself. Since they did not help, then don't blame her for being ruthless. Although Yin Chujio was tied up tightly, this did not prevent her from releasing the small flame in her right hand. She thought very simply fire conquers would burn it to death. However, the small flame did not jump out. The emotions that were transmitted to her were somewhat helpless and fearful. He Xinjio was so angry. It was another free meal. At this moment, more and more Bodhi tree branches were wrapping around Yin Chujio's body. Those jade Bodhi seeds were flying around happily, obviously gloating over her misfortune. He Xinjio was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. Could it be that she had turned this damn jade Bodhi tree into a bald lady in her previous life? Did she have to hate her so much? At this moment, there was a commotion behind the crowd. It turned out that the Lan family's patriarch and elder Tuo had arrived. When those jade glass Bodhi seeds were chasing after Yun Chujio, Master Lei had felt that something was amiss, so he sent a message to the Lan family's patriarch. When Hei Shinjio saw the Lan family's patriarch, it was the first time she felt that this old fox was so friendly. She shouted at the top of her voice, "Patriarch, help! Help!" When the old ancestor of the Lan family saw Hei Shinjio tied up tightly by the branches of the jade glass Bodhi tree, he felt as if his heart was going to explode. But he couldn't ignore it. After all, this little girl was still useful. The old ancestor of the Lan family walked to Master Liaowu and said, "Master Liaowu, what's going on? Can you save little Jiu first?" Master Liaowu shook his head and said, "Master Lan, you know that the jade glass Bodhi tree is the holy tree of our Zen sect. We can't desecrate the holy tree, so there's nothing we can do. Besides, almsgiver Yun came here on her own initiative, which means that everything was arranged by Buddha. It's her fortune that she is valued by the jade glass Bodhi tree." If Hei Shinjio had not taken her parents into consideration, she would have scolded this old bald donkey to the point of making a fuss. "Blessing. Why don't you fucking try being tied up by this damn tree?" The Lan family's patriarch sighed, "Master Liaowu, although that's the case, little Jiu is not a member of your sect. There must be a misunderstanding. If it's not convenient for you to take action, I'll take action." Master Liaowu shook his head again. "This is her personal karma. Master Lan, don't force it." The ancestor of the Lan family looked at Yun Chujio with some embarrassment. Even if he tried to force it, he was still no match for the Zen sect. It seemed that this troublemaker would die in the Zen sect today. Chapter 48-33. The Tree of No Mercy. Hei Shinjio saw the look in the eyes of the old ancestor of the Lan family and cursed in her heart. That damned old fox, he gave up just like that? He was really cold-blooded. This fellow calculated in her heart that she still had a trump card, and that was the ancient Buddhist scripture. If she used this as a condition, she should be able to save her without that old bald donkey. However, if that was the case, she would be too sullen. Could it be that she could not defeat a tree? Therefore, the guy blinked his eyes and snorted coldly, "I heard that Buddha achieved enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. The Bodhi tree is the embodiment of wisdom and holiness in the hearts of the people. But now you are targeting me for no reason. Don't you feel a little embarrassed?" Hearing that, the jade Bodhi tree did not release Yun Chujio. Instead, it tightened its branches. The jade Bodhi seeds crashed into Hei Xinjia's face with ill intentions. Hei Shinjio could imagine that if those jade glass Bodhi seeds landed on her face, she would definitely turn into a pig's head. "Stop right there. Otherwise, I won't hold back anymore," Hei Shinjio shouted. The crowd did not think much of it. It was obvious that her spiritual power had been restrained. What else could she do? Especially Ji Ping, his face was full of schadenfreude. He deserved it. He deserved it. This wretched girl was dead for sure. Hei Shinjio had no other choice. In a moment of desperation, she bit down on a branch of the jade glass Bodhi tree. This fellow had been forced into such a desperate situation that he had made such a move. However, to her surprise, she felt a refreshing and sweet juice in her mouth. This fellow felt that it was too damn delicious. Therefore, this fellow did not care about the jade glass Bodhi seeds anymore. Instead, he began to suck the juice from the branch of the jade glass Bodhi tree with all his might. The thick trunk of the jade glass Bodhi tree shook violently, and the jade glass Bodhi seeds that were gloating became restless. In an instant, the branches that were bitten by Yun Chujio withered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Hei Shinjio was about to continue, but she was thrown away by the jade glass Bodhi tree. Hei Shinjio rubbed her buttocks that were hurt from the fall and said with her hands on her hips, "Come on. Continue to tie me up. I want to drink you to death." The guy pointed at the flying jade glass Bodhi seeds and said fiercely, "If you bump into me again, I will turn your mother into dried wood." The jade glass Bodhi seeds suddenly trembled and surrounded the jade glass Bodhi tree, not daring to approach Yun Chujio. She was too bold. Wasn't she afraid that the sap of the jade glass Bodhi tree would be poisoned to death? However, it seemed that the sap was not poisoned. Otherwise, the wretched girl would not be so lively. While everyone was thinking, they heard Hei Shinjio say, "Humph. I have always been unreasonable. Although I don't know what kind of madness you have drawn to provoke me, you have tormented me for nothing. Kneel down and admit your mistake or compensate me. Otherwise, I would rather drink you to death today." Everyone, kneel? Are you sure? How could a tree kneel? Sect Master Liaowu stopped He Xingjiu, who was about to charge at the jade glass Bodhi tree with a stiff face. Master Yun, since you have escaped, let's forget about this matter. He Xingjiu wished that she could slap this old monk to death. What did he do just now? Now he knew how to settle the matter peacefully. How shameless. Chapter 48-34 The shell. He Xingjiu blinked. Master Liaowu, didn't you say that everything was arranged by the Buddha? Since it was arranged by the Buddha and my personal karma, please don't stop me. Master Liaowu blushed. This little girl was using his words to shut him up. How tricky. Ji Ping said in exasperation. Yun Chujiu, you are too presumptuous. This is the Zen sect, not the Lan family. Does my master have to listen to you? Yun Chujiu glanced at him. Get lost. You unruly thing. Do you even have the right to speak here? Ji Ping was immediately enraged. Stupid girl, you are courting death. Tiske Master Liaowu, did you hear that? He actually cursed. He broke the rules. He Xingjiu gloated. Master Liaowu frowned. Ji Ping, don't be rude. Why aren't you stepping down? Ji Ping was furious, but he did not dare to disobey Master Liaowu's orders. He could only glare at Yun Chujiu fiercely before retreating to the back. Master Liaowu was about to continue persuading Yun Chujiu when he heard Yun Chujiu say, forget it. A kind person like me won't fight with a broken tree. Let's put this matter behind us. Ancestor, let's go back to the spring of tranquility. Although He Xingjiu said so, she was gritting her teeth in her heart. A wise man would not take advantage of the situation. When she took care of the Zen sect in the future, she would take care of the broken tree as well. When the time came, she would tear off all its leaves and make it bald. Then she would write Wangba Shug on its trunk, infuriating it to death. Master Liaowu was concerned about the selection of the jade glass Bodhi seeds master. Therefore he said a few words perfunctorily, indicating that Yun Chujiu and the three ancestors of the Lan family could leave now. However, what everyone did not expect was that the jade glass Bodhi seeds were dancing in front of Yun Chujiu and the other two. He Xingjiu snorted coldly, little dregs, I'm not going to argue with you anymore, but you still dare to provoke me? Do you have to make me drink your mother into dry wood? The jade glass Bodhi seeds were no longer as arrogant as before. They flew around restlessly, not letting Yun Chujiu and the other two continue to move forward. Yun Chujiu could only look at Master Liaowu. Master Liaowu, these little dregs won't let me go. What do you think? Master Liaowu couldn't put it into words. He also couldn't understand why these jade glass Bodhi seeds had to compete with Yun Chujiu. Was it because she wasn't a member of the Zen sect? That wasn't right. He had never seen these jade glass Bodhi seeds compete with the master of the Lan family. Yun Chujiu frowned. Didn't those shells say that they were useless? Master Lei said with a wry smile, I'm just guessing. Almsgiver Yun, why don't you give it a try? Yun Chujiu curled her lips and immediately threw a handful of fruit shells in front of the jade glass Bodhi seeds. A bunch of misers. I'll return them to you. To He Xingjiu's bewilderment, the shells of the jade glass Bodhi seeds disappeared almost instantly after they landed on the ground. Thinking that his eyes were playing tricks on him, he grabbed another handful and threw it on the ground. The outer shells also disappeared in an instant. Master Lei said as if he had realized something, I remember now. It is said that every time the jade glass Bodhi seeds recognize their master, there will be nothing left on the ground. Presumably, these outer shells will eventually turn into nutrients for the jade glass Bodhi tree. That's why these jade glass Bodhi seeds are targeting benefactor Yun. Chapter 48-35 Bodhi Original Treeless. Yun Chujiu frowned. Although what Master Lei said made sense, she felt that these little dregs in the dead tree were definitely not targeting her just for this reason. Was it really because she had done something interesting in her previous life? While He Xingjiu was deep in thought, Master Liaowu said, Almsgiver Yun, since you have found the reason, take out the outer shells of the jade glass Bodhi seeds. I believe that these jade glass Bodhi seeds will not be entangled with you anymore. He Xingjiu really wanted to extort the old monk, but after thinking for a while, she realized that she could not bear to mess up the big plan. Therefore, she reluctantly began to throw the outer shells of the jade glass Bodhi seeds out. While throwing them out, the old monk mumbled, Little dregs, I'll return them to you. I've never seen such a stingy tree before. Since you can't bear to let others pick them up, make the shells disappear immediately if you have the ability. I've already picked them up, and now you want them from me. Do you still want the face of a tree? At first I was too lazy to argue with a dead tree like you. Since you are so stingy, I can only expose your true colors. Bodhi has no tree to begin with. Bodhi has always been invisible. How dare you call a broken tree a Bodhi tree? I think you are a scammer. Shameless. As soon as Yun Chujio finished her words, not only did the jade glass Bodhi seeds instantly turn into nothingness, even the jade glass Bodhi tree gradually turned into a shadow and disappeared. Everyone was shocked by this unexpected turn of events. What happened? Why did the jade glass Bodhi tree and the jade glass Bodhi seed suddenly disappear? Could it be that they were scolded by Yun Chujio and ran away? Hei Shinjio was also very confused. She was just casually spouting nonsense and wanted to vent her anger, but who would have thought that she would give it, scold it, and disappear? These monks wouldn't let her pay for it, right? She was so poor that she couldn't afford to pay for it. This fellow felt that he should strike first to gain the upper hand, so he coughed dryly and said, "That tree probably felt that it was too ashamed to see me, so it hid underground. In a few days when I leave it will grow back." The jade glass Bodhi tree was a precious treasure of the Zen sect, and now it was scolded and disappeared by her. Did she want to let it go just like that? No way. The ancestor of the Lan family felt his head buzzing. He complained in his heart, this troublemaker. Why didn't she just take out her outer shell obediently? Why did she have to show off that the Bodhi tree doesn't exist? Now that the jade glass Bodhi tree of the Zen sect has been destroyed, there will definitely be trouble. If he had known that this fellow was so capable of causing trouble, he would not have brought her to the Zen sect no matter what. He was so regretful that his intestines turned green. Ji Ping had been holding back his anger before. Now that he finally had the chance to add insult to injury, he naturally would not let it go. He sneered and said, "Yun Chujio, don't quibble. You shouldn't have kept the outer shell of those jade glass Bodhi seeds. If it weren't for your poverty and mischief, nothing would have happened later, so you wouldn't be able to escape the blame. The jade glass Bodhi tree is the most precious treasure of our Zen sect. Even if you die 10 times, it won't be enough to erase your sins." The other Zen sect members echoed Ji Ping's words. "You're right. If it weren't for her, we might have already been recognized as master by the jade glass Bodhi tree." Exactly. It's all because of this troublemaker. Now, not only is the jade glass Bodhi tree gone, even the jade glass Bodhi tree has disappeared. Our Zen sect will no longer have the jade glass Bodhi tree. Kill her. Kill her. Chapter 48-36. I will change it back for you. Master Liaowu ignored the noise of these people and walked to the original place where the jade glass Bodhi tree was growing. He looked at it again and found that it was no different from the surrounding open space, as if the jade glass Bodhi tree had never grown before. Master Liaowu said with a trembling voice, Amitba, I am a sinner of the Zen sect. The treasure of the Zen sect has disappeared just like that." The people of the Zen sect had their eyes bloodshot as they denounced Hei Shinjio loudly. If Hei Shinjio hadn't hid behind the ancestor of the Lan family shamelessly, she would have been torn to pieces long ago. Hei Shinjio poked her head out and said with a twitch of her lips, "You are all scammers. What does it have to do with me if that broken tree is gone? If I had the ability, I would have said that all of you are gone." The people of the Zen sect were furious. How could it not have anything to do with you? Anyone with eyes could tell that the disappearance of the jade glass Bodhi tree was definitely related to the few words that this stinky girl had cursed. Moreover, if she had not shamelessly picked up the outer shell of those jade glass Bodhi seeds, there would not have been any subsequent incidents. Therefore, she was the main culprit behind the disappearance of the jade glass Bodhi tree. Only then did Master Liaowu look at Yun Chujio. His face was so gloomy that it was frightening. "Benefactor Yun, the jade glass Bodhi tree went missing because of you. You can either compensate us with a jade glass Bodhi tree right now, or you can stay in the Changming Hall of the Zen sect and be a lamp keeper." Hei Shinjio was overjoyed. She was just about to find an excuse to stay in the Zen sect. It was not bad to be a lamp keeper. The ancestor of the Lan family seemed to have read his mind. He lowered his voice and said, "The lamp keepers of the Zen sect have always been dead. Yun Chujio, damn that damn old bald donkey." He said it out loud if he wanted her life. He even had a lamp keeper. How shameless. To be honest, the old man was also dumbfounded. She did not know why the damn jade glass Bodhi tree suddenly disappeared. Was it really because of what she said, "There is no Bodhi tree in the first place"? This fellow weighed the pros and cons in her heart. The ancestor of the Lan family definitely wouldn't fall out with the Zen sect for her. She could only save herself. Although that ancient Buddhist scripture was precious, it definitely couldn't be compared to that jade glass Bodhi tree. Even if she took it out, she would probably only be able to barely keep her little life. The outcome wouldn't be any better. Of course, she could still use the demon sky bell and the little wooden fish to save her life. But first, she couldn't explain why she established a contract with the two things. Secondly, now that the demon sky bell and the little wooden fish had become like this, even if she said it out loud, Master Liaowu would not believe that these were the original daybreak bell and 11 wooden fish. This fellow thought for a long time but could not think of any solution. He decided to stall for time first. Although Master Liaowu did not believe his nonsense, he still felt a bit lucky, so he did not say anything. Hei Xingjiu gestured a few times as if it was a serious matter, and then muttered, "Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Heaven Spirit, Earth Spirit, hurry up and show yourself, little Bodhi." Master Liaowu was so angry that he almost died. What a mess. This fellow was talking about Spirit of Heaven, Spirit of Earth, hurry up and show yourself. This was clearly a Taoist, okay? Chapter 48-37, the 10-day deadline. Hei Xingjiu repeated it a few times. Not to mention the jade glass Bodhi tree, she couldn't even conjure a leaf. At first, everyone was still waiting, but later they all sneered. This wretched girl was obviously stalling for time. It was impossible for her to conjure the jade glass Bodhi tree again. Master Lei shook his head. If he had known this would happen, he would have chased her back to the Spring of Tranquility when he first discovered her. This wouldn't have happened now. The disappearance of the jade glass Bodhi tree had something to do with this little girl. She was afraid that her life would be in danger. Although the Zen sect only imprisoned Yun Fengjin and Yi Lan, they did not take their lives because. However, the Zen sect did not have any scruples about Yin Chujiu. It was such a pity for this little girl. At this moment, Master Liaowu interrupted his thoughts and said coldly, "Master Liaowu, don't worry. Almsgiver Yun, since you have no way to compensate the jade glass Bodhi tree of our sect, you can only stay here as the lantern keeper of Changming Palace." Hei Xingjiu had already thought of a way to delay him while he was talking. He casually said, "Master Liaowu, that jade glass Bodhi tree is quarreling with me. I will summon it again in a few days and it will come back. But if you kill me, then your Zen sect will never see the jade glass Bodhi tree again. You can decide what to do." Yun Chujiu was sure that Master Liaowu would be cautious. Although she could not completely solve the current situation, she could at least delay it for a while. Maybe she could think of another way. As expected, despite the disciples of the Zen sect clamoring to kill Yun Chujiu, Master Liaowu still said, "I will give you 3 days. If you cannot make the jade glass Bodhi tree appear again, I can only leave you to be a lantern keeper." Yun Chujiu said with a smile, 3 days is too short. The jade glass Bodhi tree is very temperamental. You have to give me at least 300 years. 300 years. How dare you say that? If not for the fact that Master Liaowu still had a trace of luck in his heart, he would have slapped this guy to death. He took a deep breath and said, "I will give you a few more days. If you still can't make the jade glass Bodhi tree appear in 10 days, don't blame me for being impolite. Alright, 10 days it is. Then I will go back to the Spring of Tranquility first," Hei Xingjiu said while blinking her eyes. Master Liaowu sneered, "The jade glass Bodhi tree went missing here, so you can think of a way here. Ji Ping, take some men to guard her. Don't let her leave here." A hint of viciousness flashed in Ji Ping's eyes. This stinky girl had finally fallen into his hands. Just wait and see. Master Liaowu's expression softened a bit. He said to the ancestor of the Lan family, "Master Lan, it's not that I didn't give face to the Lan family, but this is a serious matter. Please forgive me. You two should go back to the quiet spring to cultivate." The ancestor of the Lan family was not feeling well. Part of it was because Yun Chujiu's life was about to be destroyed, and the other part was that the Zen sect did not put the Lan family in their eyes. If it was not for the incident that happened that year, how could the Lan family have fallen to this state? However, the Lan family did not have the strength to fight against the Zen sect. Although he felt bitter, the ancestor of the Lan family still sighed and left with Elder Tua. Hei Xingjiu saw that the Lan family patriarch had left just like that and cursed in her heart. He was indeed a cold-blooded old fox. Chapter 48-38. Get lost. Master Lei wanted to help Hei Xingjiu excuse herself, but he didn't know where to start. After all, the incident happened in front of everyone's eyes, so he couldn't say anything. Finally, he left with Ji Kong and Ji Su, who turned back every 3 steps. When Master Liaowu and the others left, Ji Ping said with a vicious look on his face, "Yun Chujiu, you didn't expect that you would fall into my hands one day, did you? Kneel down and beg for mercy right now, and I will let you survive these 10 days, or I will kill you right now. You are now the public enemy of the Zen sect. Even if I kill you, Master will not blame me. Get lost, Yun Chujio said impatiently. She was worried about the jade glass Bodhi tree right now, so she was very annoyed. Naturally, she had no patience to deal with him. Ji Ping was about to make a move when a monk behind him said, "Martial Uncle Ji Ping, there's no need for you to do anything to deal with such a trash. Hand her over to me." "All right, Qing Lu, I'll hand her over to you. Just keep her breathing," Ji Ping said viciously. Qing Lu nodded obsequiously and then looked at Yun Chujio with disdain. "Yun Chujio, you are only at the 9th level of the Nirvana stage, while I am at the 2nd level of the Black Lotus, which is equivalent to the 2nd level of the extreme spiritual realm. You are no match for me at all. If you immediately kneel down and admit your mistake to Martial Uncle Ji Ping, perhaps Martial Uncle Ji Ping will spare you this time out of consideration for the goodness of heaven. Otherwise you will." Qing Lu's words instantly turned into a scream. At the same time, there were also several explosions. Yun Chujio held a thick stack of talismans in her hand and sneered, "What's wrong with the 9th layer of the Nirvana realm? What's wrong with trash? They'll kill you all just the same. I'm in a bad mood right now, so I advise you not to provoke me. Otherwise, one by one, I'll kill all of you." Qing Lu's face was covered in blood as he said ferociously, "Yun Chujio, you actually dared to use talismans to hurt me? What kind of ability do you have? You must be an idiot, right? Why can't I use talismans? If you keep talking like that, I guarantee that I will blow you to pieces," Yun Chujio said contemptuously. Qing Lu was so angry that he almost died. He turned to Ji Ping and said, "Martial Uncle Ji Ping, your Buddhist powers are superb. These talismans are not of much use to you. You better teach her a lesson." Ji Ping looked at Yun Chujio contemptuously and said, "Yun Chujio, Qing Lu is right. Your talismans are useless to me. Hurry up and kneel down." He was met with a big sack and a sentence from Yun Chujio, "Kneel your fucking leg." Ji Ping subconsciously hit the sack with his palm. He was really unlucky. The chili inside flew in all directions. By the time he reacted, he was already choking with tears and tears. "Achoo. Achoo. Stupid girl, you are too mean. Achoo." Ji Ping was so angry that he almost died. Although the chili was not poisonous, it was so hot that he could not open his eyes. He was afraid that Yun Chujio would take the opportunity to attack him, so he immediately condensed a black lotus to block in front of him. Yun Chujio pursed her lips, then walked to the side and took out a small pony to sit on the ground. She was not in the mood to deal with these idiots. The most important thing now was how to deal with the jade glass Bodhi tree. If she could not come up with a good solution 10 days later, Master Liaowu would definitely take her life. Chapter 4839. Someone is courting death. Yun Chujio didn't want to cause any trouble, but someone was courting death. After Ji Ping washed his eyes with water, he condensed a black Buddha lotus. The black Buddha lotus rotated slowly, and countless black Sanskrit flew towards He Shinjio. These black Sanskrit were all formed from Buddha power, so Yun Chujio naturally didn't dare to be careless. She didn't use talismans or chili noodles anymore. These things could only catch her off guard. If the other party was on guard, it would be useless. She immediately summoned cheap slut number 1 to block the Sanskrit words that were continuously shooting at her. Ji Ping saw that Yun Chujio had actually summoned a treasured sword, and the expression on his face became even more contemptuous. This trash actually dared to dream of borrowing external objects? He was truly extremely stupid. However, he was shocked to discover that sword intent had actually condensed around Yun Chujio's body, and those sword intent had also blocked the black Sanskrit words. This stinky girl had actually comprehended sword intent? However, even so, she was still not his match. Very soon she could only cry and beg for mercy. Yun Chujio calculated in her heart that if she fought so systematically, she would not be Ji Ping's match at all. After all, Ji Ping's cultivation was much higher than Lan Luma's. She had to make a surprise move to win. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio raised her hand, and dozens of small purple needles shot out towards Ji Ping's vital points. Ji Ping looked at those small purple needles with even more disdain. This Yun Chujio was really too useless. She couldn't even materialize a spiritual beast? What use could these embroidery needles have? He could even catch them with his bare hands. Ji Ping thought and did the same thing. His hands flipped a few times and the small purple needles all fell into his hands. His lackeys kept shouting and cheering from behind. When they saw Ji Ping catch the small purple needles, they flattered him one by one. "Martial Uncle Ji Ping is really good. You can crush that smelly girl with one finger." "That's right, Yun Chujio, hurry up and kneel down and beg for mercy." Otherwise you're dead meat. At this moment, several explosive sounds were heard, accompanied by Ji Ping's miserable screams. Yun Chujio retreated some distance, looked at him coldly and shook her head regretfully. Ji Ping's cultivation level was much higher than Lan Lumis. Even if he wasn't prepared, those purple needles only blew up his hands until they were dripping with blood, and didn't break his fingers. Alas, it was a pity that De Hua was nowhere to be found. Otherwise she could have used De Hua to deal with him. The strange grass in Yun Chujia's dantian was shaking its leaves anxiously. What was that stupid pig? Let it out? Once the Gowei Batsao was out, who could compete with it? Ji Ping swallowed a few pills and looked at Yun Chujio viciously. Bitch, you dare to hurt me? You're courting death. Gimps, you're a monk, how dare you speak such evil words? Have you even read the Buddhist scriptures into the dog's stomach? If you're courting death, I won't stop you. You brought this on yourself, Yun Chujio said coldly. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed with killing intent. In any case, she had more debt than she needed. Compared to the matter with the jade glass Bodhi tree, this Ji Ping was nothing. Although it was a little difficult to deal with Ji Ping, she had the curse of the Xiaohanio and the little flame. As long as she planned carefully, she had a chance to kill him. At this moment, footsteps came from afar. Yun Chujio looked up and saw Ji Kong and Ji Su rushing over. Chapter 4840 was all a lie. Ji Kong and Ji Su soon arrived in front of everyone. Ji Kong said to Ji Ping, "The sect master has ordered the two of us to help you look after benefactor Yun." Ji Ping looked at the two of them unkindly. "My master asked you to come? Could it be that you are passing down my master's orders?" Ji Kong took out a law archive and handed it to Ji Ping. Ji Ping saw that it was indeed the law archive of Master Liaowu, so he snorted coldly. "I'm warning you, Yun Chujio is going to commit a crime. If you play any tricks, you won't be able to bear the consequences." Ji Kong ignored him. Ever since the incident at the vegetarian hall, he had already seen through Ji Ping's viciousness. Naturally, he couldn't be bothered to feign civility with him. He directly let Yun Chujio follow him and Ji Su to an empty space at the side. Ji Ping gritted his teeth. Sooner or later he would kill these two idiots to avoid being an eyesore in front of him. Ji Kong and Ji Su smiled awkwardly. Then Ji Kong said, "Benefactor Yun, it was the head of the Lan family who found our master. Our master then suggested to the sect leader that we come over." Yun Chujio was stunned. That old fox still had some conscience. She waved her hand. "It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's good that you're here. At least you can avoid Ji Ping from finding trouble with me." Ji Kong and Ji Su felt a little uncomfortable. Although they wanted to help, Yun Chujio had caused too much trouble, so they really couldn't help her. Yun Chujio naturally saw through their thoughts and smiled. "You don't have to blame yourself. Let's not talk about our friendship. Even if we do have a friendship, it involves the precious treasures of your sect, so it's not good for you to interfere. Don't worry, I've always been lucky. They'll definitely be fine." Ji Kong and Ji Su didn't know what to feel when they heard that. Although this female devil was treacherous, they had to admit that her nature was very kind. They had wronged her in the past. It was already late at night. Yun Chujio took out her all-purpose tent and lay inside to catch up on her sleep. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other. This female devil was too ambitious. How could she still sleep at this time? Hei Xinjiu was not overly ambitious. She realized that she had been very sleepy recently. Although it was not as severe as when her primordial spirit was damaged in the ghost realm, it was still very uncomfortable if she lacked sleep. Hei Xinjiu slept all the way until noon the next day. She stretched herself and left the tent. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at her speechlessly. One day less sleep meant one day less sleep. Was she really not in a hurry? Hei Xinjiu said to the two of them, "Leave one of you here. The other one will help me cook." Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other speechlessly. Then Ji Su got up and went to the dining hall to cook. Yun Chujio took out the recliner and lay on it, thinking about the next step. It would be best if she could turn the damn jade glass Bodhi tree back into its original form. However, she had no idea how the thing disappeared or how it came to be. The guy recalled the situation at that time. First, the jade glass Bodhi tree turned into nothingness, and then the jade glass Bodhi tree gradually turned into a phantom. Could it be true that there was no Bodhi tree in the first place? Hei Xinjiu blinked her eyes and said to Ji Kong, "Little brother Ji Kong, the jade glass Bodhi tree didn't exist in the first place. It's all an illusion." Ji Kong looked at her as if he was looking at a lunatic. "Giver Yun, I may not be a scholar, but you can't lie to me like that." Yun Chujio. Chapter 48-41 Xiaomogu Little Brother Ji Kong, you don't understand. What is there is nothing, what is nothing is there. There is no Bodhi tree in this world. The jade Bodhi tree you saw was just an illusion. It was Buddha's test for you. Ji Kong looked at He Xinjiu, who looked like a fraud, and said speechlessly, Almsgiver Yun, do you believe what you said? Yun Chujiu. She naturally did not believe that the jade glass Bodhi tree was an illusion. After all, it had existed for so many years, how could it be an illusion? Moreover, if it was an illusion, the jade glass Bodhi tree and the jade glass Bodhi seed should have disappeared at the same time, and there should not be a sequence. Moreover, there was still the outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed in her storage ring. If it was an illusion, these outer shells should not have existed. She felt that the damn jade glass Bodhi tree must have played some tricks to disappear. The reason why it did so was probably because it was afraid that she would absorb its juice, and secondly, it wanted to trick her. It was really a damn tree. Thinking of this, He Xinjiu narrowed her eyes. Where was that damn tree hiding? She curled her lips. Although she couldn't find that damn tree, she had Xiaomogu. She didn't believe that the stupid tree could escape from her grasp. Thinking of this, Yun Chujiu yawned. Ji Kong, I'm going to sleep again. Ji Kong, are you a pig? Didn't you just get up? Why are you sleepy again? After entering the small tent, He Xinjiu summoned Xiaomogu and let it crawl into the ground. At the same time, the guy came out of the small tent and raised his voice, saying, Forget it. I'll sleep after Brother Ji Su brings home the vegetarian meal. Brother Ji Kong, let me tell you. Yesterday that idiot Ji Ping was tricked by me with chili noodles. He's as stupid as he can be. Ji Ping, who was standing far away, was furious when he heard that. He immediately shouted, Yin Chujiu, shut up. Otherwise don't blame me for being impolite. TSK impolite? You this idiot still want to pick a fight? Do you know why Master Liaowu accepted you as his disciple? Because you are too stupid. He was afraid that you would make him die of stupidity, so he was kind enough to accept you as his disciple. He Xinjiu said with a smile. The reason why this fellow acted like a demon was to attract the attention of everyone present. Otherwise they might have discovered Xiaomogu. Now that everyone's attention was on her and Xiaomogu was underground, no one would have discovered her. Ji Ping hated He Xinjiu to the bone. Now that he was provoked by her, he would not swallow his anger. He immediately brought his lackeys and came in front of He Xinjiu and Ji Kong aggressively. Ji Kong was speechless. Can't this female devil stop for a while? Why did you provoke Ji Ping at this time? He stood in front of Yun Chujiu and said to Ji Ping, Benefactor Yun is related to the jade glass Bodhi tree, so please don't act rashly. Ji Ping glanced at Ji Kong coldly. Ji Kong, get out of my way or I'll take care of you too. Ji Kong said coldly, Ji Ping, if you continue to act like this, I can only report your actions to the sect leader. Even if you are the sect leader's disciple, the sect leader will not protect you. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.